attempt for all Salon people and then party them. Sarah J Media will be bringing you a variety of programs ranging from documentaries to discussions, interviews, news, views, sports, and entertainment. Our programs will contain matters on development, governance, the economy, and issues that are of importance to Sierra Leone. So, no left BNO because we get Bebe program then like Salon discussion, meets the ministers, the President's Hour and the Gladi program, Look Me, I Look You. All this they start soon na www.sarahjmedia.org. Now who's tem these?
The total population of Sierra Leone in 2019 was stated approximately at 7.8 million. And the most common cancer reported in 2018 was breast cancer, with an incidence rate of 25.1% and a mortality rate of 19.2%. Ward 2 at the Connaught Hospital surgical ward that cares for patients requiring breast surgery, chemotherapy, and palliative care. General surgery also admits to the ward as see fit. The ward is in need of a significant refurbishment and has a major impact on patient assessment and delivery of treatment, dignity, comfort, and infection control measures. The current ward area presents a significant challenge to infection control. There is no fit for purpose or adequate personal hygiene facilities. The showers and sanitary areas are in poor condition and are difficult to clean. The flooring is deteriorated. Overall decor and fabric of the walls need repair and full decoration. Furniture, cupboards, and shelving require replacement. The sluice, known to be the dirty utility room, is in poor condition and needs replacing. Windows need to be replaced as current windows bring in draughts, dust, debris, mosquitoes, and rodents. There is no designated area to provide a day service for patients receiving chemotherapy. Medical supplies is desperately needed. Therefore, we need a total amount of £15,000, which is equivalent to 195 million leones for this project. This project will focus on women diagnosed with breast cancer and other non-malignant breast abnormalities requiring one or more of the treatment modalities that are currently available. We will also set up a day unit for the administration of chemotherapy and provide training and development to ensure sustainability. Therefore, I am pleading to all individuals, organizations, and local businesses, and every Sierra Leonean and friends of Sierra Leone to make a meaningful contribution that will never go in vain. Ways to contribute will be seen at the end of this clip. I am Aissata Sise Jallow of the Health Show Partnership Program. Remember, your health is your wealth.
Hello, my name is Josephine Kamara. I'm the founder of You Can Do It Foundation. You Can Do It Foundation is a charitable organization based in Sierra Leone, West Africa. You Can Do It Foundation has been in existence for the past 2 years. We have been fighting gender-based violence against women and girls within the community. During the past 2 years, we have been offering psychosocial support, counseling, court fee, medical fee, including school items to the survivors of gender-based violence. However, during the lockdown of COVID-19, report received and confirmed that rape cases among a minor has increased tremendously within our community. Because of this, You Can Do It Foundation has secured the land to build an accommodation for the survivors of rape. However, this may almost become impossible without your generous support. We need your help to build this home for the survivors. Your help could be in cash or in kind. If you wish to join us to make a difference in a child's life, please go to our website, which is www.youcandoitcyf.org, or you can go to our GoFundMe page, which is Home of Hope for the Survivors of Gender-Based, or you can contact us with the details at the end of this video. We thank you greatly for your generous support, and thank you once more for making a difference in a child's life.
When I was young, a lot of things were different. Unfortunately, most of the differences seen now are heartbreaking and are not good at all.
Before now, men were strong protectors of the weak, fathers, brothers, lovers, sons. Their mere presence guaranteed the safety of women and children.
But what do we do now? Men harassing and raping women.
Men sexually abuse little girls.
Men battering and killing their wives.
Any form of sexual assault, be it rape, sexual abuse, or pedophilia, is a killer to human self-esteem.
Women should stop dying in silence.
Speak now.
The rapist should be stigmatized, not the victim.
I think death sentence should be the consequence of such terrible act.
And you mothers, build confidence in your children, put trust in them, listen to them when they make reports, and take necessary actions.
Talking of mothers before now, women were virtuous.
They were mothers, daughters, and sisters.
Nurturing, counseling, supporting their men folks.
But now, women are trafficking female children for money. Women are forced to be silenced.
All this must stop, and it must stop now.
Real men do not abuse, rape, or molest women and children.
It is barbaric, unacceptable.
Let all real men stand with us.
Together, let's say an emphatic no to rape, sexual abuse, pedophilia, and domestic violence.
To my friend, she was the brightest at our level, even though she was as innocent as the heaven. That did not stop Papa Abu at age 57 to ask for her hand in marriage as she turns 11. Her parents, being naive about this rage, tolerated this marriage, and this destroyed the hopes and dreams of Kadiatu to live like it in Seattle. Instead, she's been used as a tool by an old school. Kadiatu is being used as a bait mate, by her own mate. My friend has been emotionally tortured by this old culture. Old child marriage, it's on the rampage like disease, eating up the fabric of our girl child image, and it's our duty to cage. Let diverge, please be obliged. It is now we emerge from this ancient custom at large.
If not for this dreadful event, Kadiatu could have become president, but now she has been trapped in an old man's residence, like a mosquito in a tent. She is vulnerable, but with her age, she is still able to become that virtuous woman of substance, like Madam Patricia Kaba, Madam Dr. Kadi Sise, Madam Sianyama Koroma, Madam Dr. Sylvia O'Blyden, Madam Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Oh yes, without child marriage, our girl child can still turn into Madam Hillary Clinton, Madam Theresa May. Be it as it may, Madam Condoleezza Rice, let's not be hypnotized, but rather stay wise, for this can only be realized if education is being prioritized and child marriage is being criticized. So please, parents, do not relent, as it is apparent that a girl child can become great if only you patiently wait.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. This is Isita Sisejalo on the Health Show via Sierra Gem Media. Today is the 10th of June. We want to say good evening and welcome to the Health Show, wherever you are, or good morning, good afternoon. And in the UK here, we hope you're enjoying the beautiful weather, although for some of us, it does come with a price, and that price is hay fever. So please bear with me. If you hear me sneezing or you see me touching my nose a lot, it's because I suffer from hay fever, as well as an asthma sufferer as well. For those of you in Mama Salon, we hope you're safe. We hope the rains are not troubling you too much, because there's lots of heavy rains that is happening right now. So what are we going to talk about today? Today we will talk about this big C word thing where I know say people they not like to talk about, people they no want for you read about them, people they no want for even think about them, because they think and feel if they not talk about her or they not think about them or they not engage in the conversation, then it means it will never happen to them. Well, the reality is that is not true. It can happen to anybody and anyone at any given time. And so it better let we talk about them, let we know waiting for look for, waiting not for look for, waiting we can do for try for avoid them as best as possible. Because if we do some things to a certain level, we can try for avoid them as much as possible, really. So this word where we not like to talk about is this word called cancer. Cancer is a disease. Cancer, it's a life-threatening disease. The reason why not life-threatening disease, because now one of those diseases them where you get them, if they not pick them quick, it gets a lot of damage it will cause within your system as a whole. But also, sometimes by the time they catch them, it already do the damage already. Or also, it depends on the type as well. Sometimes it let them catch early. If not they're aggressive one them, they know they give one chance at all for get to treatment or even give treatment chance and so on and so forth. So today is just the overview, just following more a little bit more. As I know, the health show is all about health promotion, raising awareness, and getting people talking, getting people thinking, so that they can go and look for more information, so that they can go and ask more questions, so that they can go and seek help. So thank you to and welcome to all our viewers this evening. So today we're going to talk about cancer. Yes, like I said, cancer, because one in two people will be diagnosed of cancer in their lifetime. That's the reality. So we need to talk about them. We need to know a little bit about this thing here, because I think with everything in life, when you know what you deal with, it's easy for you manage the situation. But if you don't know what you deal with, then sometimes it makes it difficult. So cancer is basically a disease that comes from our cells. So it comes from different cells in our body, be it the breast, the lips, the nose, the finger, the skin. It comes from one of our normal cells. Now, what make it become a cancer is because it mutates, this cell they mutate, which is another word for it is it multiply. Just like you get your times table. You get your times table, if you multiply 2 times 2, it will give you 4. So now that they happen. Where this cell mutates, it born more cells, and then they end up for become cancer. And why it become cancer? Because it grow and grow and grow. So one, where it born, it turn 2. Where the 2 born, it turn 4. Where the 4 born, it turn 6 or 8. And so no more. Then the other thing about them, it get that power. The way it don't born in a certain area. If you feel say that area, they not free anymore for them, the space don't tight, it able bust through what you call the membrane of that area. So let's say if cancer within the lungs, if they don't grow, the area where don't grow, it don't near the wall. Let's say near the wall, it decide for bust that wall. In scientific terms we call it the membrane, the cell membrane. It bust them, then you go through, and you also get this power for create in your blood vessels. The blood vessel is basically like a water pipe, where not through that you get all your nutrients. Them not through that the blood they go through, where they give oxygen, all this food where they eat, or process them, we absorb them. Not through the bloodstream, they pass from one place to another. So now them powers there, it gets now make a cancer, now a thing we're very, very, scary, or when people talk about it, they get really, really worried as well. So in terms of this cancer, people can say, how many? There's so many types of cancers, so many types of cancers, over 200 types of cancers that are there that have been identified. But we get with most common one that we can be like, of course, we breast. You get if you start from your head calm down. If you start, so from your head, you can get skin cancer first of all. So for those of you who don't know, skin is an organ. We skin part of the body now an organ, and it is the largest organ. The skin. So you get cancer of the skin. Right? You get 2 types of cancer of the skin. You get the one we're not too much where people can say as mole. Like I get one mole now myself. So all time if you see that kind of mole, they are very important. But me, I don't get this mole from where it's small. So it's not worrying. But these are the kind of things you should be looking for skin cancer, like the basal cell cancer. Then you get squamous cell cancer. When I know the more serious one, And then, of course, you get melanoma. Melanoma as well, where now cancer where they start now your skin. Instead of where you start with them kind of mold there or some spots there like for say now will be the color in a salon and facing cloth, you know. So you got to be mindful for that. And we go talk a bit more about what thing that you need for do, because I think sometimes we Black people especially, we can feel say some of them things that whether they say for avoid it or not for do, they say only matter to the white people, but it also matters to us as well. Because the only thing we make me and white people that different is the color of our skin. And that's because we produce more melanin than they produce. So that is why. And all that is to do with the environment and who's our friend we serve in terms of evolution and all of that. So like I said, we've got over 200 types of cancers. So if you start from we don't do the skin, you can get cancer of the brain. You can get cancer of the eyes. You can get cancer of the jawbone. You can get cancer of the cheek. You can get cancer inside your nose, what they call nasopharyngeal. You get cancer there. You get cancer of the tongue. You get cancer of the throat. You get cancer of the lung. You get cancer of the breast, of course. And then you get cancer of the liver. You get cancer of the pancreas. You get cancer of the kidneys. You get cancer of the bladder. You get cancer of your cervix. You get cancer of the uterus. You get cancer of your prostate. You get cancer of your colon, where basically now you guts. You get cancer of your vagina. You get cancer of your penis. You get cancer of the urethra. So you get so many types of cancers. The testicles, you know, back home with the colon and the balls. You know, you get that kind of cancer as well. So there's so many types of cancers you get, irrespective of which part of your body. So it's very important for all not to say now one side or not to one side. It's just that sometimes it's just whose side and cell they are decide for misbehave. We'll go talk a little bit more about these cells. And after that, please, if you want to phone in, if you want to engage in the chat, please not hesitate for contribute or for say any one or two words if you want for, or even call and make your own suggestions and add on. Because remember, I can always say, you know, no man is an island. It takes more than one person. Two heads are better than one. So let we share we ideas, let we talk about we experiences so that we all will learn from it, and then we go carry on sharing and talking about it. So statistics wise, you know, I want just touch a little bit on the statistics of cancer, especially in the United Kingdom, because now they we base. So in terms of the United Kingdom, I'm going back to the statistics where the Office of National Statistics put out, where this was 2017 figure. So now this 2017 figure, they said to me, the most common cancers in women in the UK, the first one na breast, the second one na lungs, the third one na the bowels when na the guts, the fourth one na the womb when na the uterus, and then you get skin cancer, and then you get the ovaries, you know, inside the egg that can come out for we ovulate, either we see a period or we fertilize it turn into a bikini. And then you got lymphoma of the lymph nodes, and then you get pancreas, and then you get kidney, and then you get leukemia, when that cancer of the blood. So this now the different levels in terms of which cancer are more, you know, prevalent in women. Where cancer man, now prostate. Prostate now the number one. Prostate is the top most diagnosed cancer for men in the UK. And then of course after that you get now lungs, now the second one, and then you get the bowels, when are the guts, and then you get skin cancer, where we don't talk about this now, And then you get cancer of the mouth, you get cancer of the throat, and then you even get cancer of the voice box, what we call the larynx, you know. And then you've got cancer of the kidneys, you get cancer, the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and then you've got cancer of the bladder, you've got cancer of the throat, the food pipe, the esophagus. When I did the food, you know, where you charm, you swallow, go through your throat, the food pipe, where they go through you to your stomach and your gut, then they said you can get cancer for that. And then leukemia, again, the blood cancer. So these are kind of like the two different steps for both man and woman. And that's purely based on, again, lifestyle and just the way we women then and man they build we differently. You know, some people can ask, say, how we go prevent cancer? Well, there's so many ways we can prevent cancer, and this is something we go talk about. And this is why it is important for us to talk about the statistics, because the statistics then they help you for know, these people that were in this area, and so cancer then they get. Then we'll go do something whether they call genomics, whether they go study the gene them and that environment they for say, okay, well, for example, then cancer of the mouth and tongue cancer. Now cancer we're very, very, very popular in India. And the reason why it's popular in India is because they get this particular type of nuts where they chew. When they don't realize it gets some chemicals that inside the way actually they initiate then cells there for begin for multiply until they into cancer cells, then become dysfunctional. Now we don't talk about, you know, say for man them, now prostates are the most diagnosed. For woman them, now breasts are the most diagnosed. But for both, the second most diagnosed is lungs. However, when it comes on death, you know, where you say which cancer people that they die of most, even though breast cancer now the most in terms of new cases, and then the prostate being second. Believe it or not, lung cancer is the one that kills people most in the UK, both men and women. Lung cancer. The other type of cancer where they kill men and women most, the second is bowel cancer, so the gut. And then you've got prostate, and then you've got the breast, and then you've got the pancreas, and then the esophagus, when I know the food pipe what I'm telling about. So it's very, very important for pay attention to that, because I know say a lot of people, especially women and men, they're being diagnosed of breast or prostate cancer, and straight away panic sets in. But I want you to know, even though they're the most diagnosed cancers, they're not the most, you know, in terms of they're not the highest, they don't have the highest rate of death. So it's very, very important, which means treatment, there's a lot of treatment in place. We can help, we will make things, slow things down, or even cure the cancer. Because these days, to be honest with you, a lot of cancers are curable. So if I don't reach here, I wonder if any of my producers behind the scene, production managers, if they want to add one or two, but also I'll look at the chats and see if anybody is saying anything. I don't just greetings to you all. Thank you for joining in. Very much appreciated. You're welcome. Yes, we always try to give a good program. It's just interesting, you know, when it comes to our health, when it comes to politics, you have hundreds of people logging in for your gossip, for your the negatives, for your the positives. But when it comes to our health, you know, we don't log on. We don't want to know. We don't really want to pay attention. And when then something goes wrong, we start for blame Auntie Ila, we start for blame Auntie Kona, we start for blame here we are, or you know, Brother John, we start for blame them people and they, which in most cases, it's not them. It's us, because we not don't pay attention to ourselves and listen and do what we're supposed to do. So we go talk about these cancer cells and how really they behave and why they behave this way, where they behave. So there's a simple thing where, from me on research, I kind of give them the connotation, say that there's a 6 superpower stage, meaning the stages them way from where the cell and your body in a normal cell to when it become cancerous and then become problematic and then move on until sometimes it leads to death. So how does it work? So the basic way I always like for explain them is a traffic light system. All we cells in our body, that they function through a traffic light system, meaning 10 days where the body they tell and say go, it means them for divide, multiply, them for born picking. 10 days where the body they tell and say no, they first standby, no born yet. Then 10 days where they born, where the body they say no, we don't done with you now, you for die, you know. So just like as us, the natural death, which is why we die, because all the cells in our body tend to reach where they die. So that is what leads to our death as well. That's why we're immortal. We're not immortal. So now the same thing for happen with them cells there. They either die when the cell reach for let them die, or then they stand by, or they multiply when they're supposed to multiply. Now, what think it happen? One of their cells, there's something that go wrong inside them, inside your genetic makeup, then DNA. Something decides to go wrong. Again, like you always say, you go men 5 picking them, but you always get that one day when a traga is one. Or some people can even say, you know, this one I had the wait itself one for the family. So when that one cell goes wrong, it means they not they follow the rules of the traffic light system anymore. They not they die where they're supposed to die. They not they stand by where they're supposed to stand by. And they not they go where they're supposed to go. Then just they go. Then just they go. If they're supposed to go, if they're not cell supposed to go travel from Kenema to Bo once a month, then they say no. I don't source the road. The road is fine. Why not for travel every day? Why you want to travel once a month? No, me they go and come back. They go and come as much as I want, and I not go get accident. Nothing not go happen to me. I will just go and come freely. No checkpoint, no they stop me. So on and so forth. So that's what happens with cancer cells. They just go and go and go, and even when they go, sometimes the neighbor them, when the other cells the way they're around, can try for stop them. But they still, again, like picking, where the men picking, where tranga is, like you say, where host no menu, streets go menu. But then cells there, no they listen. So basically, a left picking no misbehave, become a house, a neighbor tell and say, normally neighbor will say, you, can I, what did they catch you? Pass like go back na house. Then it run go back na house. Well, then cancer cells there, and then they do that. Then no, they even listen to the neighbors, with their neighbors, because if their mechanism don't become dysfunctional, the traffic light system don't become dysfunctional. Sometimes the neighboring cell can able to say, okay, well, this why I look like it can be grown now with them misbehave. Make we try back and see if we can help them for stop. And not they listen at all. Not they listen. And like I say, normal cell, they die. And then death can be triggered by so many things, including stress. So they can just self-destruct themselves and then go on. But the cancer cell not agree to that. Then they sneak around all these different systems where the body naturally gets in place for control cell division. Then they sneak out of it, and then basically then just the born will call mutation. They born. So that they born and then they able once they born, they able create their own blood vessels so that they able get food supply. You know, they able get food supply and then do it and get for do and keep being alive. And then of course they then can just do so much of that then decide again for move out of the area where they live. Then they grow so much. If you imagine you get 1 bedroom, then 1 bedroom is supposed to be maximum for 2 people. Okay, when I get 1 bedroom, let's say I get reasonable parlor and kitchen and bathroom. Then you decide no more say una dey born. Man and woman, una don't born one first. Una manager. We begin big, una making the sleep na parlor. Una born 2, una add them to the parlor. Una born 3, but then the other 2 maybe na boy picking, the other one na girl picking. Then una begin mix them. Then they begin become uncomfortable because opposite sex sharing the same room and so on and so forth. What thing they happen? Sometimes you go see one person say, well, I'm going to go lie down in the kitchen. And then the other one will say, well, I'm going to go lie down in the bathroom. So basically, that's what happens with these cancer cells. When they don't multiply and multiply and multiply, they don't become uncomfortable side and day, or they feel say they don't get space anymore. Then they decide for move. Then they move and go somewhere else. And they might not be problem. And then they now we call metastasis, where they spread from one organ to another. So let's say they start from the liver, they don't in the liver, they dip and they don't look and say, we need more space, or we don't push too much on this side and a lot boss. Then sometimes they go boss, then go na the bladder, or then go na other neighboring organs then. Or sometimes the other way around. Then go come on the bladder and come na the liver. So it's very, very important for that we know that in the day. And then some people can say, well, this cancer, how they get them? Cancer, you get them different ways. You get them because of so many factors, such as stress, such as poor diet, such as lack of exercise, such as other environmental factors, where I will talk about a little bit more further. But also, you can get them from you family. You can inherit them from your family, which it can be from your papa side or your mama side. From your mama side, they inherit things like breast cancer. You also inherit things like retinoblastoma, which is basically cancer of your retina, within a eye. So with man, mostly you look at things like colon cancer and so on and so forth. So it's very important for let you know your family history and know what you will do about it, so that when you talk to your doctor as well, you're able to tell them different things about yourself and your family. Anybody within the diaspora, say one thing where they always ask you is your family history. Sometimes before I went into nursing and healthcare, I never really understood why they ask about your family history until when I went into healthcare. Then I realized why they ask about it. It's about building this story, building a history about you, and then making sure they can, look after you well and guide you properly. Okay? So, Kadi, you like the analogy, and rightly so. I know I'm trying to make it as less scientific as possible because I think it is already a frightening topic. People don't like talking about it. People don't want to hear about it. And I like to kind of simplify it so that it makes it easier for people to absorb the information and process it and think about it, and then and also feel comfortable talking about it as well themselves as time goes on. So what can we do? What can we do? People say, oh, what's I going to do for avoid this cancer? Well, you can avoid it as much as possible, but sometimes it's just pure bad luck. Just pure bad luck and faith say you they get them. But you can avoid it as much as possible. And you can avoid it by keeping a tab on your weights. You know, there's a lot of evidence that says obesity is one thing that causes disease such as cancer. And we all know obesity is something that causes heaps and heaps and heaps of other health problems, like heart-related problems, mobility problems, respiratory problems. So it's very important to keep an eye on your weight so you don't lead to obesity. And it's also important to try and be as active as possible. Gentle exercise. Nobody not say let you go run 5K or 10K or the marathon and so on and so forth. Gentle exercise. Walking, brisk walking is also quite good. Doing your steps. If you're not somebody where you didn't host your housebound, you can actually do steps at home. You just map no more. When you watch your TV, you just match pass. They match pass, fast. Or if you get stairs in my house, you go up and down the stairs, and so on and so forth. Or if you get your garden, you go around, you see Captain Tom, elderly Captain Tom, by just going around in garden 100 times or so, it starts out with play, it end up for raise so much money for NHS. So it's very important for us to think about those things. Our diet is very, 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 very important. We need to be mindful of what we eat. Nobody's saying stop eating A, B, or C. Try and eat things in moderation. Things like sugar, be mindful how you take it. Things like red meat, be careful how you eat it. Sugary drinks, you know, because when they say sugar, people just feel it's just the raw sugar, refined sugar that you eat. No, the sugary drinks and also some food, especially processed food, they contain sugar. So it's very, very important for you to check those things and make sure you're on top of that. Alcohol as well is something that contains sugar, and you have to be careful how much of alcohol you take for all other reasons. Most of these things that you can do to prevent cancer, believe it or not, you can also do that thing there also can prevent so many other illnesses. So many illnesses. My other sister, when seven a senior nurse and physician, you know, actually intensive care. She's in intensive care medicine. She's watching. She will tell you for free the recovery rates of people who go into intensive care is most times, I would say 80% based on what other underlying health issues they've got and their weights and so on and so forth. And we don't see that Tom revealing himself a lot during this pandemic. A lot of people that will die are people with underlying health issues. Some of them knew they had it. Some of them did not even know they had it. And that is why a lot of Black people died when there was this conspiracy theory saying, oh, they don't kill me, they won't kill me, why now? We don't know the guy. No. It's because a lot of us Black people, we don't go do our checks. We don't want to know what's happening with our health. Right example today, you know, how many people are logged on? If it was for can't talk about something bad or negative, oh, everybody will log on. So a lot of people died because they didn't even know they were diabetic. They did not even know. They did not even know they had respiratory illness. They did not know. They did not know they had high cholesterol levels and so on and so forth. So these are all some of the things we have to be careful of. Smoking, of course. Smoking is another thing that is very, 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 very unkind to not just we lungs, it's unkind to our mouth, it's unkind to our teeth, it's unkind to our throat, and it's unkind to our food pipe. So it's very important to be mindful of those kind of things and try. I know people say, oh, smoking a bad habit, you don't say I don't smoke, waiting go kill me, make it kill me, and so on and so forth. But trust me, you don't want to have that experience. We're all working hard. We're all doing what we have to do. it's very important for that we look after we health, that we maintain we health so that we go able to grow old and enjoy the fruit of our labor, or be able to be well enough and live long enough to enjoy the fruit of our labor. The other thing where very important as well, where we for be mindful of as Black people, because again, and I say this because we always think, like I mentioned before, we always think, say, something that the owner for the white man or not for we. Sun cream, you know, or sun lotion. It's very, very, very important that we use it. When you're going to Africa, where we go work in Sierra Leone, it's very important you take along a sun cream because of the ultraviolet rays. The ultraviolet rays, then they burn your skin. And when they burn your skin, it can actually lead to cancer. It can lead to skin cancer, it can lead to melanoma. So it's very, very important we think about all those things and use it, not a false life, because I know some people will say, oh, no, false life. If you don't ever born picking in this country, or you don't ever look after picking in this country, whether they go nursery during the summer, they will always tell you, pack of sun cream. Up until recently, you therefore pack a sun cream, and then later, because of all child protection and so on and so forth, then will tell you, say, please apply sun cream before the picking come in nursery, because it's very, very important. And then like you always say to you, wear a sun hat so that you protect some, you know, when you wear your sun hat, you create some level of protection within this aspect. But we hand them more. Now therefore be careful of. We hand them, we neck them, we face. So if you wear a sun hat, it's your hands you have to be worried about. And you notice, say, if you look at summer dresses, most of them, especially for women, it is long. And there is no mistake about that. It's about, yes, you want to enjoy the lovely weather, but also you want to protect your skin. So it's very, very important for us to think about those things and make sure we try for do our best, for do what we able to do, and also assist other people them we're not able to do what they're not able to do, and guide them and educate them, especially now in Mama Salon, where we know for say treatment is not readily available. So if people that are aware of waiting for look for and how early them for look for them, then we'll able to pick up them in there quick and deal with them as soon as possible. So I will tell you, I said today the program not go long. So at the left and give una now, let una ask questions, allow talk, and I see one producer put his hand up. T-Boy.
Hi, welcome everybody. Well, it's you. Wait, you starting. You didn't introduce me. You know, I know about me. You can just let me know that the wilderness for like the wonder. What are the force?
Rejection. I know.
Every day they reject me. The health show. They say, "T-Boy not to health. First away for can't talk for give good example. I get all the bad habits them for the health show. So the no one bringing me can the health show, but they come. Alex said you can't bring me can they come. Baby.
No, but you don't tell me Alex for bring you stuff because I want to use you as an example. When you get the bad habits there, now you self I want to use so that I will talk to people them and say, "No, don't mind them. All they're in bad habits and in fake bad habits."
So I can't talk about that now. You know we're ready for talk about that. So why don't talk about that? You want to talk about that now? Why did it so? But anyway, family on a question on a carbon, and welcome to the health show again. Like I have to say, the health show is very important that we know so many things about the health. Femi, Namion, official consultant, so he's always there to consult for me when I need any most, especially when I'm in and out of the country. So basically, you need to forget that kind one confident day. We go able for do your research, not necessarily saying a doctor, but at least you get the patient for do the research on certain symptoms than what they get. Just like every somebody they ask on the platform, what are the symptoms for lung cancer? Well, the health show is here. So then they will go to ISATA, it will tell you exactly what are the symptoms of lung cancer. But also forget, say, the health show is not just about your well-being in terms of cancer specifically. But cancer is not the primary topic of discussion at the health show. So basically, there are so many other forms of cancer we had to highlight earlier on. But I'll go on for like we ask few questions on some of the one we not kind of the thing that we will need to take as cancer. You mentioned one earlier where we call facing clot. Facing clot, sometimes you see some people that will facing clot, marry them body. They talk say this was dirty and I see the was not clean. So I go on for know what are some of the causes of facing clots. We don't mention the few aspects them of what in cancer mean and the few different types of cancers the way they affect human beings, especially we come in Africa, we really take things them for granted. You also mentioned say when we go Africa, look not forget for take we sun cream. Well, some of we burn it. Some of we skin and non dark and non burn. The sun don't burn and say what is the form of cancer where they affects the sun to your skin, where they make you suppose forget protective gel, like a sun cream for me not be able to forget some kind of sunburn. Because when you look at the whole of the Sahara is extremely hot, extremely hot. And the rate of skin cancer, is it high or why is it not high within those regions? Now because of their skin tone or because of the level of layers the way the skin gets. So give me some more examples on the stuff so that people they go for understand exactly what's in the protection way African skins then get towards the sun, where they make we not too familiar or not to get enough of skin cancers, where they make European and when they go now any kind of hot temperature, then they advise them for go with sun cream. Tell us some of the advantages of our skins, why we are not too much at risk with sunburns, and why the Europeans they are at risk for sunburns. And then also some of the causes of facing clot, when are one form of the skin cancer and the way popular that's salon. I also have to ask, is ringworm also another form of skin cancer or is totally different? So over to you.
So who's you last start now?
Anyone.
You don't go round and round. Well, I just answer somebody. Somebody say, with the traffic lights analogy, how does the red, amber, and green light operate in the human body? Just a brief elucidation says, well, the way the traffic light system works is the body is made up of cells, yeah? And these cells, within them, we've got something that is called the DNA, which now their own engine box, you know, the engine of a car. So basically, without the engine, the car, they will even start motor car, not so. And so the DNA is the cell makeup. It's the makeup of the cell. So what they happen is the way the system works within our bodies, every area of the body, the cells them, the function as nature has expected them to function. I.e., then you say, then you put one parable say, pikino to yes. The reason why and you say pikino to yes is because the ears is one of the slowest growing organ by our body. Yeah, the ears not they grow as fast as you height or as fast as you fingers, your fingernail or your hair. So it depends on the type of cell. That's so the traffic light system and the work. Within scientific terms, we call them the half-life of a cell, which basically means every cell gets a own lifespan. So, for example, the cells that are inside your mouth, they die very quickly. So now I make where you burn, if you drink hot tea, you burn your mouth, within 24 hours, you don't notice it don't repair itself. Because it don't die, it don't come back, it don't die, it don't come back, it don't die, it don't repair itself. So that is how the traffic light system works. So, but what thinking go wrong within these DNAs of these cells that go wrong is they're not to follow the traffic light system anymore. If they're supposed for multiply every day, then they multiply every hour. If they're supposed to multiply every week, then they decide for multiply every day. So I hope Mr. Mixer, I hope that they clarify and make you understand what they talk about. Then somebody else, then he also asked, the same person asked, what are the causes and symptoms of lung cancer? I think I touched on that a little bit. One of the most simple causes of lung cancer is smoking, cigarettes, tobacco, nicotine, and many other chemicals that you can find in either cigarettes. But also, you can environmental factors can lead to cancer. Inhalation of really, really toxic fumes can lead to cancer, or things like asbestos. We've got a special type of lung cancer where they call mesothelioma, where they are basically asbestos-related type cancer. And this country will fend itself because there was a lot of industrial work in the early 1900s. There was, and because they didn't have the most refined way of cleaning chemicals, you find out that a lot of people suffered with this type of cancer. And up until recently, where are they get patients and where they suffer from mesothelioma, where because they use a material they use for do buildings them, where we get asbestos. So you define that say people that will live within those buildings or work within those areas, sometimes they end up developing this cancer. And because it's an industrial related type cancer, this country, as soon as you're diagnosed of that type of cancer, you are given a compensation straight away, an industrial compensation of up to about £30,000. They give it to you because they feel say at that time, again, when they talk about this health and safety rules, and that's where all these things were born from. Health and safety, the health and safety executive, and cytotoxic chemicals, and so on and so forth. So those are the kind of things that can lead to lung cancer. Of course, naturally it can happen, but those are the kind of things. What are some of the symptoms you can look for? Persistent coughing, repeated chest infection. Again, those are symptoms you can get if you get another type of respiratory diseases or illnesses, such as pneumonia, such as chronic chest infection, such as emphysema, such as other chronic obstructive lung diseases. So, like I can always say, when you get symptoms, not begin panic, not begin going to Dr. Google, they go look, say, oh my God, I don't begin cough. I sometimes say, 2 days ago, I listened to a program, they say, if you begin cough, sometimes you don't get lung cancer. No. Go seek more advice and go for further investigations. This is very important. Go for further investigations, then go check you and do more tests. Then go able to decide what's actually wrong with you. Sometimes back, some people can cough blood. They can get, they sleep the night that they cough, that we call it a hemoptysis. And then whether they cough, not a fresh blood, like somebody will get full-blown tuberculosis, but they get streaks of blood inside the sputum. Sometimes too much, sometimes less. So again, that's another symptom that you look for. And of course, the classic one, breathlessness. You know, you even at rest, you're extremely breathless. Like this talk, all they talk. So sometimes people who suffer from lung cancer, and then they even talk 5 full sentences. They don't begin puff and puff and puff and breathe difficultly. So those are some of the signs and symptoms of of cancer. So I hope this helps. Oh, fantastic. I'm glad you think it's clear. So over to you, T-Boy. Waiting to be one of the first questions. You talk about facing cloth, right? I refer to facing cloth because that is some form of discoloration of your skin. Now, facing cloth salon can also be eczema, which is a skin condition. We're not getting nothing for do with cancer, okay? So that could also be a dry skin condition. We also people then back home, they say, dirty, us and everything. But we all know a lot of people in this country, they suffer from eczema, where they can get for they wash them with some special type of emollient cream and soap, or make sure you know use fragrance soap will get scent or perfume inside, and so on and so forth. But I use the facing cloth for let you notice, say, a difference in your skin. Now, the type of the skin you get skin cancer depending on the type of cell, because of course the skin is made of 3 layers. Okay, you get the layer what they see when they reflect the color of the skin. Then after that, when you bruise yourself, you then see another layer. Then after that, if you cut yourself deep, or they go do operation by you, then you then see the 3rd layer. So the first and the second layer depends on which one is affected and the type of skin cancer you get. But also you get melanoma. So melanoma is the one where most times that they say to you, it is caused by sunburn. Now, when the Europeans are more susceptible than us is because we produce a high level of a chemical called melanin, and where the European they do not. They produce a small amount, but not enough when I'm responsible for the pigmentation of the skin. So that is why we are less susceptible to skin cancer compared to our European brothers and sisters. However, like I say, that does not stop us. We are not immune to it. We are just less susceptible to it because we get natural protection. But if we abuse that natural protection, for example, using creams that have very strong chemicals in them, and then we kill the epidermis, which is this layer, then it exposes us more to this ultraviolet light that is produced by sunlight, So I hope that they explain you question. It means we have our advantages is we already get a protective layer, which is produced by the melanin that we produce where they lead to skin coloration. And then the Europeans don't have that. However, that does not stop us.
Okay.
It just means we're less, yeah.
The other one I want to ask for now, skin pigmentation. Say when black people them can get that kind of skin pigmentation where your body they bleach in different patches, like it go kind of white or change. Is that another form of skin cancer, or that should not be of too much concern to some extent?
No, that's not skin cancer. That's just skin discoloration and other issues with your skin. Sometimes they call it two-tone skin. I have it slightly, but you don't notice it. You have to really come close to me to notice it. I have it, and as I grow older, they see them white spot them more. And I think it's got to do with environmental changes as well. The longer we take care, if you notice, if you go to your doctors now, one of the tests whether they do is vitamin D. Well, I remember during the COVID, the height of the pandemic, they were saying people were rushing to go buy vitamin D because vitamin D is something you get naturally from sunlight. But because we're in a country where, the sunshine is not as plenty as we had when we were in Africa, they actually run low of vitamin D. So it then affects us in so many different ways. So no, discoloration of the skin does not automatically mean skin cancer. There's other issues. There's lots of other. The skin, like I say, it's the largest organ, and there's so many problems that can go wrong with the skin. And for that, you have to be referred to a dermatologist, which is basically the skin. The scientific word for skin is dermis, and so the dermatologist looks after the skin.
Now, I know a couple of years ago there was a lot of concern with the mobile masses, the way then they put now different communities then within Freetown and now some provincial towns them. Where the concern then where they raise now the fact say the radioactiveness of their mobile masses they also they create a lot of brain cancer or cancer to the people where they live right underneath those masses. What are some of the risks and which kind of cancer where you will get with those form of radiation to the human cells?
Well, radiation is really it's universal. You can get any type of cancer as a result of radiation, because again, radiation is one of the factors that can affect proliferation of the cancers of the cell. The DNA turns and mutates and becomes a bad cell, and then continues to reproduce. So radiation is quite serious, and it's very important for us to pay attention to it. And with that as well, we get pollution, and how do we get pollution? Especially in Sierra Leone, one of the issues with pollution is we don't get where for dispose of things like plastics, rubbers, everything. We get them big area there where with the Toronto dirty box. I think we get one in town, right? Then we get one they call them Bome.
Yeah.
And you can every so often when you're in that area, they especially in town. I mean, the last time I go salon, I nearly get an asthma attack where we pass because we always use that road in our shortcuts for come back in our Western. I nearly got an asthma attack because of the strength of the fumes, that was coming out. And so those kind of things are all things we call carcinogens, things that can actually lead to cancer and can cause the cells to become cancerous. So it is very, very serious and important, and it's something we need to look at because, I mean, recently, a lot of people they see on social media where they get very young children now in between the age of 16 to 20 that they develop this kind of very aggressive type of cancer in Sierra Leone, where they start off as breast hypertrophy, basically the body they just they big. And recently we see one where we have support right now in collaboration with Think Pink, where the thing grows, the breast grows so much that it bursts, and where they start people that feel and boil, or this you don't go do my business, you don't get better. So these are some of the things, these environmental factors is what we need to start looking at as a community, because we'd already begin to see there's a lot of work going on in terms of the genomics of coolant in the environment and waiting to affect why we will get certain cancers more than the other, why we will get respiratory diseases more than our neighboring country, Guinea or Liberia or even Nigeria or Gambia.
Right. Abdullah asked a question. Is there much difference between liver cancer and lung cancer symptoms?
Oh, yes. There's a lot of difference, Abdul. Your lung, in most cases, it's the symptoms of lung cancer can be easily detected than the symptoms of liver. Now, being the fact that the liver is one of the largest internal organs, and being the largest internal organ, the liver also has the special quality of regenerating itself. So what happens when something goes wrong in the liver, it takes twice as long for you as an individual for even take notice. It's only when it's really going bad sometimes, or sometimes by coincidence, something else they happen with you. They say, okay, let's go do blood test or let's go do scan. Then they realize, say, something is going on with the liver. But simple things you should look out for. For example, if your eyes are yellow, jaundice. If your eyes are yellow, or the inside of your eyes are yellow, or your fingers, your palms, because for us as Black people, it's also difficult. But when you see the Europeans, they see somebody yellow, like the high vis vest where they wear. They actually see somebody with skin they glow like that, when the liver is not working properly or it's about to fail. So those are some of the signs. And when it's really, really bad, people then start vomiting blood, or they also start having little blurges on them. We call it erythema, but they like little skin, like rash them, get one side and get one side, or black spots them. You go notice about somebody's body. Again, that is because something is wrong with the liver. It's not necessarily lung cancer. It might also be hepatitis, when a topic we'll talk about at another time, because insect now the liver they affect, and that is affecting our people in Sierra Leone a lot and killing our people. So that is the difference. And also you can piece the yellow piece where they also show you say there's something, and that yellow it just stands for bilirubin. It just stands like we get the melanin where they turn the skin black. Now so you get this thing where they call bilirubin, where then at the liver, where that's in work for do, but we're not able to do it if they do. If they promote, you actually see the color yellow.
In Sierra Leone, you mentioned the Indian aspect of people where they India, where they get a lot of mouth ulcer because of some kind of knot within the charm. We know say some the older people and they put tobacco in the mouth and keep on it for like almost the whole day as a form of recreational drugs where they use, kind of in a way. It be they cause them any form of mouth cancer, or is it okay? Because I know say tobacco and cola now the most common nuts the way Sierra Leoneans in the charm. But tobacco is being consumed by mostly older people, man as well as woman. It get any effects where they lead to mouth cancer with regards to the nuts where the Indians in the charm where they feel say they produce some amount of chemical where they make them get mouth ulcer or mouth cancer?
Well, I don't know. And the reason why I don't know, I can't say yes or no really, is because there has been no test. It's all anecdotal. Basically, it means there's no research that has been done. It's highly likely that people back home, they died of some form of cancer as a result of this long-term use of tobacco, but there was no research done. This was not documented. This was not investigated. Just like at the moment, there's so many causes of death in Sierra Leone where we don't know because it's not been recorded, it's not been investigated. Sierra Leone, we don't get a system in place where if somebody dies suddenly and unexpectedly, automatically in that country there, straight away they refer you to the coroner, they go do autopsy by you for establish the cause. They will register that death, neither even able to take the body or bury them if they don't know the cause of death. And this is how they gather data, because with that, they store that data then at the Office of National Statistics, and then they're able to build a picture, just like you get pieces of puzzles. You put them together, then you're able to make one big picture. So unfortunately, that is the challenge we get in Sierra Leone. We don't have data for a lot of these things, and we are not, in a way, trying to accumulate that data so we will build a better picture. So it's very difficult for me to say yes or no, but there's a lot of evidence that says these tobacco, these nuts, they carry some form of chemical that can cause these cancer cells to ignite and do some stuff,
Okay. And I say we don't talk about few of the other elements that really cause cancer. In one way I want to ask, you mentioned the fact that the most common one among teenage girls right now the breast increase. You don't try for see whether there is any research being done for make them able to find out exactly what's the reason for this particular type of breast increase in younger girls. We sometimes will be of very concern because the first one we hear about that being another girl we don't do it about a couple of months ago, but now all of a sudden, there seems to be quite a number of them increasing with the kind of same illnesses. Are you, when you don't begin to have or put anything in place for me, then begin to find out exactly what are the direct causes or who side can see also the come?
Yes, well, in Sierra Leone, per se, the few cancer doctors we've got, which there's only 2 or 3 of them, led by Dr. Small, they're actually doing genotyping. So basically, that's the process wherein you look at these cells and you try to identify what's going on in them and what's different and what changes. And for you compare with the next person you own and see if there's any similarities. And then you also compare with their demographics. You look at the area where they live, what's in the natural or other resources that are in that area that might be affecting, you know, the change or the cell growth and overgrowth. So yes, there is some work being done on that.
I don't turn the question like we're saving at the host. But anyway, one more thing. I know that today's show is specifically the overview of cancer. You don't do this cancer program for minimum 5 years, if I would say, but a minimum of 2 years or 3 online. You feel, say, the knowledge and the kind of impact we don't create within the Sierra Leone community, no much for say. Are you seeing any improvements in the rate at which people are aware of cancer concerns? Are you getting enough regular phone calls of requests or questions or like asking about what is actually related to some of their symptoms that they're experiencing? What do you feel don't change within that period of time due to now as you do the whole review of the cancer show itself?
Well, I think it's all been positive. There's still a lot of work to be done, but I think it's been quite positive. Yes, I feel said in terms of people talking more about cancer freely and a bit more comfortable, that there has been an improvement in that. Yes, I've had a lot of feedback, people coming to me and saying, guess what? Because of what you say, I actually go check myself and so. Or people come to me and say, hey, I don't go check myself for so, waiting for happen, waiting at the next step. Then we do that. Whilst in the past, the story them when one of the things that prompted me to start talking about cancer in our community is that people they go diagnose them, and then they get stuck in this denial phase, and then they roll into depression, and then they end up not getting treatment. They become more and more vulnerable, and then they end up the religious or spiritual or traditional medicinal roots, which then eventually leads to their death. So there has been a significant improvement. I've not heard of such stories for over the past 2 or so years. And even where I've heard of it, where they've attempted to do that, then the person actually go and come back and say, you know what you were saying is right. I think let me come and stick with conventional medicine. So it's been quite positive. You know, when I started it, I was really, greeted with a wall. Basically, I get people that will say to me, why they can't talk about such an evil topic, fine, then in the hour you talk about now they make person get where you talk about her, it's like they invite her into your home and family. But that's not true. That is not true, because I can always make a reference to the Europeans. I say, if they say this now because of this now because of that, with all these myths about say, because I dreamed last night something bet me Bobby, or now that me step mama now don't like me, now don't do me bad, and so on and so forth. If now be all of this, why make the Europeans themselves they get them? Why they will not get step mama? They know the dream say they bet them Bobby. Why then they get them? So I think it's been quite positive. And now anywhere I go, to be honest with you. Anywhere I go, I will be, somebody go say to me, I think I know you from somewhere, and then I'll be like, okay, and then they'll like, hold on. Oh, not so you know that lady we can talk on that, do that cancer program, yes. And then we'll start a conversation. We will start a conversation, and then eventually some people, because of issue with trust and confidentiality, some people will call and talk to me in a third person perspective. So then go call and go say to me, I said, I got my brother out and Ponty boy, and so. And then eventually, then I give them advice, and then I make suggestions to them, and then go. Where then go see say, or what I tell them, or what I advise them, comes to pass, then they come back. So that and then for some reason, they don't develop that confidence. Say, actually, this lady, you know what they talk about. Or I can trust them. So then sometimes they will come and say, not about so person, now me self, or actually not so far away person, now person right under my foot, and so on and so forth. So, it's been great. It's been great. I've not regretted it at all. I've not.
Okay, I think we fully can, but there's a controversial question at the chat way I want for bringing camp across to you. But I just want to make mention. The woman the way they deem say the best them will be if na man bet them will be they can talk about they left on they left on almost so because they end even they not you want for explain but we ask question how comes then give you or you dream man bet you Bobby Usman when the question begin pile up there are no way about that no more. Not a wish man. Now the wish man you can come across quick. But anyway, Abdul is asking. I must say there is a lot of ooh-ah about this particular question right now, and we will not try for opt-out yet. But I go just bring my honorable Fuller boy right into the middle of this. The question goes, what's your take on the government NHS holding on to confidential information of patients that might be passed on to a third party? I understand my question is out of the topic. Totally agree. But again, cancer issues are also part of the form of confidentiality of patients' documentation and information. So what will be your own take on those particular disclaimer where the government don't for make say until you opt out, it means you have automatically accepted for your information to be passed on to a third party?
Yeah. Well, I think one thing where people then get for understand first, when they say that they pass you information, it's not identifiable information. So then they pass on your name, then they pass on your address, then they pass on you date of birth, because let's think with common sense now. There's so much work going on about GDPR, information governance, which is got to do with data protection. Do we actually think in the last 10 years, when this might not be such an issue in terms of GDPR, information governance, do you really think then the government will do a U-turn for now, say, oh, we hold on against data protection and everything, but at the same time, we they do information to somebody? No. What they're doing and what has always been happening is just that we are now in an era where as we evolve, we get more and more opportunity in terms of transparency. That's my take personally. I'm not a data protection officer, neither am I any of these NHS policy driven gurus. So, but my rationale, in terms of my experience within NHS and working in the health sector in this country, I don't think they'll do that. And they're not going to do that because they will be sued hell amount of money. Can you imagine if they take your name and date of birth and everything that is wrong with you, then they go sell them to a third party? That is breach of confidentiality to the highest level. You will sue. We will sue them forever. What they're doing is using an unidentifiable data, which, to be honest with you, they've already been using it. This is now just about openness and transparency, and also giving the people the rights that they rightly deserve. It's just like, how many of you people know that there's legislation that's actually going on and will take effect in terms of organ donation? How many people know, say, we actually get for opt-out now rather than opt-in? Before, you dey opt-out, you dey opt-in, say, I want for donate me organ if I'm dying and somebody else can benefit from my organ. Now, you have to opt-out. Say, I don't want for donate me organ. So there's so much going on, and I think sometimes the general public and some of these people just make a big hoo-ha about it, and sometimes the media makes a big hoo-ha about it, and sometimes it's a diversion strategy because something else they happen when no one not pay attention to. They bring all these things that are really senseless, If it was that serious, trust me, the level where they in terms of management, it would have been something that we've been having meetings and meetings and meetings about, for make sure that we communicate until we patient them. But we are not having, because it's something that's already embedded. How do people think that they know how to treat certain diseases? How do people think they get to that point? It's because they collect this data. How do people think they know, say, well, who are then the woman they were then they're more susceptible for get breast cancer compared to the woman them where they Barnet, the borough of Barnet, It's because they collect that data, they collect that information, but it's an unidentifiable information. So that is what it's all about. It's just like these days, I mean, if people are worried about that, then they shouldn't even be going on the internet. Simple example, nowadays, you go online, you go do search on a website, by the time it don't begin feed through your Facebook page.
Yeah.
Every page, every website you visited it's being fed through your Facebook page or your Instagram or anything.
No, so I think my opinion about the concerns raised by maybe the citizens now, because of the fact, say, data is the biggest commodity within the world right now as the commodity for trade. So basically, if you not opt out of your data being passed on to a third party, it means third party can use it to generate some amount of merchandising device or promotional stuff within the able for push to you, regardless whether you accept it or not. But like you clearly say, it's ongoing already. It's just about making it official and say, well, this is exactly what is happening. But if you think you're not happy with it, you're not comfortable with it, then you get a choice for opt-out. But also, we get for look at the advantages of collecting data based on research purposes, because it helps scientists or it helps people who want to generate things that will be better for the future, not for us anymore. Maybe it works, but the risk of you not being known where you are in the world should not be of any concern if you don't commit crime, if you're not dodgy, if you're not doing anything that you're not sure about. Because whether we like it or not, our information, our data is all over the world.
Yeah.
People will call you randomly, you might not even know where to get your contacts from. They want to sell you stuff. So, bless you. I don't know what it's like in the States. Padiman, Kusha, welcome.
Welcome, Juma. Welcome.
Thank you, T-Boy. Thank you.
It's intelligence marketing, isn't it?
Thank you, our listeners and viewers. I want to apologize first with me heavy voice and possibly face will look like boxing gloves. I'm suffering from allergies and hay fever, and it turn about me right now. So forgive me.
No worry, Juma. Don't already make that disclaimer earlier because myself now. I don't make them say them see how they sneeze. Let them know. Worry. COVID.
Okay, thank you so much. And I think although we did like what T-Boy say, we did talk about cancer, but again, it's related to health issues and some of the things that they build people in confidence or make people scared for even go, to for go seek health care in so many ways them. So it's important not to ask three questions in any way. Now, so mission. But one thing we want for tell Mr. Gla now that whether not the states, based on my own experience and my own knowledge, because me term na the healthcare field, I work with a lot of, things we get for do with data protection, protecting patient confidentiality and issues like that, because some of the areas that I work get for deal with study patients them. And study patients, for say definitely involve collecting data, collecting information, we then get for go use and analyze before they roll out possibly that particular treatment or medication to the wider public. So I want for let you understand, say no government right now, not the wall, or no the NHS or any side, no they use patients' information, and sell them to third party. That I'll assure you for that. Since then pass the laws, then they ramp up that. That is one thing I'll tell you. If you tell me, say, individuals may smuggle your information and put them and sell them on side, then I understand. But the NHS or any healthcare practice, not they use your information to a third party. Just like how I said, they will use unidentified information, but anything where they show your identity, say, T-boy, this now you get this sick and that, they know they ever use them.
They make an example, but it's not a problem.
Oh, well, we're just talking for argument's sake. They know they ever sell you information or use them.
Man and Jima, won't get attention now. He said, we're not
Exactly.
get attention.
Yeah.
Don't get attention. I say, go, don't get attention.
Right.
Let me example.
Except in situation wherein you don't give authority. Now that make it important where you they go for go see doctor or any side. Make sure say you read what you they sign. The first, I don't know about waiting and call the documentation at the UK, but they will give you what they call an informed consent information. Inside that informed consent information, then they ask you about the kind of treatment. When you walk into your doctor's office or the clinic or wherever you go, then people then they sign. And then get close, then go ask you, say, you give permission for let we use the information for this, and that. So you have to make sure you read. That's one. I will tell you that with authority based on the United States where me day and working within that field. I do a lot. Me na Air Force. Me when I mean at the work in a hospital, okay? They deal with information. The particular hospital where I work, now they get me own GP. I not get right. Me not get right for go search for me own information. Because if I search for my information, I'm breaching protocol. I'll be arrested. I'll be prosecuted, jailed, or fined up to $250,000 for me self your information. It is highly protected. They're not a user. People can thief them. That's a different case.
But
the only term at the camp, T-boy, the only term where then they use your information if it get for do with legal business. Even the court, if you commit crime right now, you go there, you say you've been sick and all that thing, and they want for use that information as evidence. They're not a take and give. Unless they carry it, there are protocols they go through for let they're able to get information. I will tell you that for free. And we know they say it's foolproof, but pass them thief information. As if anyone for counter, T-boy say, low battle this further, we'll go to Isota in cancer.
No, I just want to mention one thing more. Most of the blueprints they when they tell you see now disclaimer blueprints them, they are like tiny texts where you're not able to read. So if you don't have time to read those texts, you will just sign those documents without even knowing that you've given your consent.
And that is on you. That's why I say you get for make sure say you read.
I think it is always hidden at some point, so you don't have time to read it and find out where it is. If it is an open book policy where they want for make you actually opt out, then they read them to you, highlight them to you, say this paragraph they talk about your disclaimer. for make you argue or disagree, for make you information being passed on to
any tell where you go to hospital. I don't know about UK specifically, but I tell you based on example. I don't be patient like UK as well, so I know. Who say you for sign? Then must make sure say they highlight them, say you get for sign now, so read now, so make this. And then if you can opt out again, you can sign something, then later you go realize something, you withdraw. You know, I just want to say that. Another big complete defense. Femi said,
yeah, sure.
Or in challenge.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Juma, the challenge is slightly under.
All right.
Because I think, say, passive Awongo, but Watchdog put out a program or discuss this topic recently, and they actually say, they urge we say, if we know how make them sell, make the government sell with information, we can go na the NHS website and opt out. I think say the date the 21st of June. So, you know, I think that's something new where they come in. Again, then say it will be anonymous. They're not going to sell your name. But if you know opt out before that date day, your details, you can't change your mind later. So you get for them before the date, or that's it. So it wasn't Watchdog this week or
so we don't
end of
come
last
back to the same thing where I say earlier. Now they don't inform the public that this day, you understand, you have an opportunity to. I'm not going to talk about the whole thing because I don't know the reason behind it or waiting. But when they say anonymous means saying unidentified data or information about you, you know, for help improve certain things them. I know they talk for government now, so but like I say, legally, both local laws and international laws, there is no way where government they participate in that. If they do, I'm not meaning a thief, then thief. I know they say it happen 100%, but that means it's stolen information. I don't know if I said I want come in again or okay. All right, Femi defend the thing. Yeah, yes, Femi.
Here we go. One more big day for you.
Femi, you want to say something?
You know, nothing that you can go up in the Pandora's box.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm trying to play something. I'm not sure if the audio is coming through. Can you tell me if it is?
Here we go. One more big day for you. June the 23rd. That's the last day that you get to opt out of what's being called the Great NHS Data Grab.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people like the sound of that one.
No, absolutely. As of July the 1st, the GP data of everyone in England is up for sale. The government says the info is anonymous and is a great way to drive forward medical science. On the other hand, the campaign is against it, so the government can't be trusted to keep our identities secret, and it's being rushed through without a proper debate. In any case, if you don't like the idea of your records being sold on, you can opt out. You'll need to fill out a form on the NHS digital website. Give that to your GP, either by post or email. Got to be done by the 23rd of June. Once it's on that record, it cannot be erased.
All right. I listen waiting them play. Thank you, Femi. However, we come back to the same thing. They say anonymous for science and all that. It just
exactly.
Like, let's go to Facebook, for example, we're familiar with, okay? The Blue app itself. Every time Facebook they put out a notice say we they change certain laws them. You have the opportunity between this period and this period for either say you want for be part of them or you don't want for be part of them. Some people do take it seriously and some people just ignore. So again, it is not done illegally. That's the point here we made it try for make, because then, you know, they don't notify people them different ways them. This particular people where they do this thing, I don't know what's in their motive, because at least they for they don't bring somebody in an expert for can explain the reason or the ways they way they don't go for make out.
Well, it's the watchdog. It's the BBC watchdog that picks up on anything that has a bit of flaws and everything. And I think the reason why is at the moment is because everything the government does at the moment, especially when it comes to science and healthcare, there's a bit of suspicion going on. Because of all these conspiracy theories and so on and so forth. So I think that is where that is coming from. But for me personally, like I say, it's the least of my worry, because I know I have nothing to hide. Like T-Boy, they say, I have nothing to hide. What are they going to say about me? Oh, there's this a black woman between the age of 40 and 50 who suffers from hay fever and has lived in the UK for the best part of her life. And would they compare them to this person, or, you know, live around this area? So, because it's things like, okay, within Sodok, we know some people that are not Sodok, they suffer hay fever more than people that where they live in Lambeth. So what do the pharmaceutical companies do? They make sure, say, then stock all them products them now Sodok, rather than hay fever, antihistamines, and so on. And that is what this data is all about. It's about marketing intelligence, just like we're already doing it anyway. It's already happening to us. It's happening to us on Facebook, all social media we go on. It's happening. It's happening to us with the telephones that we buy. All these Androids, or, you know, all these fancy technology. It's already happening. You know, now you just don't know somebody call you, Mr. So-and-so, we find out, say, you don't be involved in a car accident. Then you will be upset with them because you not be involved in the car accident. But why are they calling you? Because they know you have a car. You know, how they know say you get the car? Not through the DVLA. You know, through the DVLA, they know you have a car. So it's just one of those things. But anyway, let's go back to cancer. And because that's a top, you know, information governance, data protection is a whole new thing. And some Mixer says, remind them of the NMC Code of Conduct. Of course, I think Juma already touched on that. Confidentiality and information governance. Even within we work environments, Nami job, you design information governance policy. For say, waiting up lands me, I know they go there. If you they go look patient record on the electronic record system, if you they go search for patients where you know there's no reason why you they search for that patient, you can actually be sacked for that. You know, you have to be able to justify why you they go into that patient's record. Me not to then say when I be the work now at cancer specialist hospital, one of the colleagues that they diagnosed her of cancer. So they move on from the branch where they work to the other branch. Then in immediate colleagues that way they work with, them be one know what they go on with her. They all got discipline because when they call them, you not share with them, but then they took the liberty, then go into the system, then find them, you know, then find information about her. And she found out about it. And she reported them because she wasn't happy about it. She wanted it to be private in letting control the information. They got disciplined, you know. They got disciplined for that. So I think there's already things in place. And the things that are not in place, for me, to be honest, everything about us is out there anyway. Everything about us is out there. So let's go over to cancer. Let's go, so that we could be rounding up and so on and so forth. We know the cancer done until like last night.
You don't get choice. So, how many you been sitting until last night? Must know how you enjoyed the program.
I know what's success.
Cancer. Right. So, Aisha, in terms of now, some of the measures then to take, where you don't spend so much time over the cancer issues for almost a couple of years now, and you do a review, you feel say prevention methods then don't work with the kind of advice we don't give most of the people that we don't come in contact with you for advice?
I think that they try, you know. That they try. A lot of people are doing good things. For example, we brought them DJ Little, DJ Ish, they take on this exercise. They didn't take it on because of cancer. They took it on for other health-related issues. However, they've incorporated that, and people are benefiting from it. You know, people are kind of being more self-aware. They do little and subtle things. Now they see people there where they tell you, say, oh, you know, they eat white rice and brown rice. They see people where they say, no, me, I don't take sugar again. No. You see people where they say, you say, oh, and they make sure I sleep at least 6 hours a night and so on and get me rest or me time. and so on. Or you see people that nowadays say, last task now, one time for the week they eat them, or I don't stop for eat beef, now fish they eat, or so there's so many things so many changes people are taking into consideration and putting it into action and effect,
Can I ask a question?
It's working. Thank you, Amelia. I think it's very important. I think we just need for do stuff and make sure we're aware. For us, it's about raising that awareness state. Raise it. Preventative measures is very, very important. If only we could do more and more and more sensitization, more and more health promotion, more and more awareness raising, then that could help a lot of the challenges we face with health, especially in Sierra Leone, might be improved, especially when we don't have the resources for treatments, So our focus, a lot of effort needs to be put into prevent, and just similar to waiting the government now don't do when it comes to COVID. They've actually got a whole team now they call Team Prevent. And Team Prevent is all about looking at different ways to prevent another surge of the COVID-19 virus. And that looks at vaccination, that looks at sensitization, that looks at reaching out to the wider community, and that looks at changing people's mindset, feeding them with the right information, encouraging them to come out, do their tests, do their vaccines, and so on and so forth. So those are the kind of things we need to look at. We need to look at prevention.
Esther.
Yes, sir.
Is there a particular cancer that's highly how can I put it, that catches us, as in the black people?
Prevalent.
Black people?
Yes. Any particular one, the way they go say really and truly they affect we more than it affects we fellow human beings, we as black people?
No, not that I know of. Not that I know of. No.
Okay.
Not that I know of.
Thank you. So it's
I don't think there's been any specific study to that effect.
So what about
again,
the
there's a lot of work going on in the African Cancer Network. Well, I don't think, and I think the same cancers that are prevalent and top of the list in the European world so far, according to data on GlobalCan and WHO, so far all the country profiles that I've looked at, it's still the same: breast, prostate, lung. However, for me, I challenge that information because, for example, in Sierra Leone, yes, breast cancer is the only one we're gathering data on right now. We're not even going anywhere gathering data on any of the other reproductive system cancers. We're not gathering data on prostate. We're not gathering data on lung. We're not gathering data on uterine cancer, ovarian cancer, vaginal, colon cancer. We're not gathering data on any of that. So it's difficult for us to say right now, in our population, this is what happens more in comparison to the European population.
Okay, thank you. What about pancreas?
Pancreatic cancer is not top on the list, to be honest, but although it is one of the most difficult in terms of treatment cancers, it's not even in the first four of cancers. It's quite below in terms of the list, but it can be quite aggressive, and the prognosis is quite poor, So it affects men more than women. a lot of the research and evidence that is out there has got to do with sexes rather than gender, as sex and gender rather than race.
Okay, and you were talking about skin earlier on. You did talk, say we get 3 layers of skin. But I wasn't sure if you said that we have a top layer that the Caucasians don't have, or do they have a minimal of it?
No, we all have the top. We all have the same 3 layers. It's just that our top layer is pigmented with melanin. So our top layer is what is black or brown, and that's because of our high level of pigmentation that they don't have. Yeah.
Thank you. Over to you, Juma.
Well, Lab, go over to Isita first because it's very interesting, and we are joining. I want broke the screen. I begin to talk about skin cancer. If you get skin discoloration, I just want to put me aid loan. I see. I get dot. The way T-boy talk about I make me heart cut. But thank you, Isita, because actually, I get these kind of colors, small, tiny ones. But it got worse. So now that question let me get for ask you. We talk, say, in Africa, for example, Sierra Leone, the sunlight and all that thing, they help. But my skin got all these blisters and got worse when I went to Sierra Leone because of certain job they do frequently. Would they spend more time out there now they open, and me not supposed to wear baseball cap or things like that much. I don't use sunscreen or whatever because I believe saying that for the we other party them. So I noticed my skin begin peel. And it got worse. I don't go hospital and say there's nothing they can do about it. It's there, let no worry about them. So, but people they begin to let no business cancer this so this then kind of thing. And they won't can't talk about and just me at court until you answer the question again or you highlighted that point.
Yeah, I mean that is true. It's sunburn, isn't it? We feel say myself now when I went after many years of not being in Sierra Leone. When I went in, I think it was 2005, I actually got so badly burnt on my forearms that when I came back, I had to go for treatments, and since that time, I don't joke with me sun lotion anymore. I mean, I just want to update, Diaspora Voices say, prostate cancer is more prevalent in the Bain men. Yes, it is more prevalent in the Bain men, as Femi was asking if there's more, but that doesn't, they've seen it more in Bain men in the UK, but not worldwide. We don't know if that's a worldwide evidence or it's within UK. They've seen that it's more prevalent than with the white Caucasian.
So, based on your interaction with Sierra Leone, for example, where are we at in terms of going anywhere near treatment, prevention, and things like that, where we not even do the test them or diagnose, let alone begin do the studies? Because I think that's one thing that is lacking in Sierra Leone, really, on the healthcare sector, like you highlighted earlier, research. And it is very important because if you're not able to do the research for how you go treat, you never go treat what right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the challenge we have in Sierra Leone. Unlike our sister country like Gambia, they've got a massive research unit set up there doing all sorts, not just they're doing research on malaria because, and actually my cousin is one of the doctors there who does that. And I think that's the biggest challenge we get in Sierra Leone. But however, even though it's recognized as being a challenge and there's work in progress to try and move that process of research forward. But it's just a fairly slow process at the moment. And we've got the cancer registry. Again, the cancer registry has now been incorporated into the Ministry of Health and Sanitation. So hopefully that will help us well in terms of data collection and managing that data effectively, because so far when you go on our country profile, the only data you can have there is breast and prostate. Other than that,
there is nothing.
Nothing else. But it's work in progress. It's work in progress. And I think with all of us like myself, I think gradually the Ministry of Health is gradually taking notice of us and saying, maybe we should start bringing these people on board to start working together collaboratively as a team, and then we do something that is useful and good in terms of, especially when it comes to cancer in Sierra Leone. There's so much work to be done, and some of it, they've started little by little, but there's so much work. We need to gather the data. We need to put a national cancer policy in place. We need to have pathways in terms of treatment, guidelines, say, okay, if you get breast cancer, this time will be your first line treatment, this time will be your second line treatment, this time will be third line treatment, and then you can then go into trial and so on and so forth. So we have a lot of work to do. I just hope and pray, say, with the right people, they would embrace all of us as specialists, and then we can work. Because I think there's not many of us around, and they just need to use us appropriately and effectively.
I see Abdullah ask a question. We myself want to line with that question there, because it's very important for we community wherever, in terms of the education. They say when doctors say the cancer has spread, do they mean the cancer blood cells have spread or what? That's one. Addition to that question, if you're able for, touch on both together, is, some of the things the way they create the doubts about cancer in with community for say an lie. Yeah. Now that's once then diagnosed person within the community, mostly, whether in Sierra Leone or out of Sierra Leone, possibly then say you get 2 weeks, 1 week, 6 months for die. So I want you expand on this, because me, based on my own knowledge, not to something where they happen overnight, where they blindside you. Now, because you don't, gradual progress, go, test, like how they say, go for checkup, you relate them to other things them rather than actually going for medical treatment or checks. So I just want to let you elaborate on that and answer Abdullah question at the same time.
Okay, so I'll go first with Abdullah. Abdullah, basically the word cancer means a group of cells that have gone bad. That is what cancer is. So they're in actual fact themselves cells, and these cells then develop and build up, and they can create blood vessels around themselves to keep themselves sustained as a group. And that is what is also referred to as a tumor. So in terms of when they say cancer don't spread, it means, let's say if this cancer, these cells we don't go rogue, when are cancer cells, if they started in the lungs, they can actually spread to the bones. And how did they do that? Like I said earlier on, if let's say that the lining of the left lung, they don't push to the wall, they don't grow. As they grow, they push to the wall, They then eventually put so much pressure on the lining of that lung there, and then they burst through the membrane, and then they burst the lung, which means the lung puncture. Then they burst through the lining, which is the membrane, and then through that, they go into the lymphatic system, which is basically our water work system. And then through that, then they go further another organ. Depending on the type of cancer, depends on where else they go. For example, lung cancer, they can go to the brain. you know. So that is what they mean by spread, is that they move from the organ, the original organ where they can go infiltrate another organ. Okay? So when it comes to cancer blood cells, that you're talking about something different as well. So you have cancer of the blood, which is leukemia. So you've got a specific type of cancer that affects the cells of the blood, which is basically the blood cells, which is your lymphocytes, your microcytes, your red blood cells, and so on and so forth. So you've got leukemia that affects your blood cells. And that obviously comes in different types. You've got chronic myeloid leukemia, you've got acute myeloid leukemia, or you've got lymphatic leukemia, and so on and so forth. So those are the two different types. But spread is basically, it can also start when at the primary organ, it go to another organ when they consider secondary disease. That is what spread is. And then the other question, I just wanted to highlight questions some might not be able to ask or understand the meaning. Rightly so, Abdul, it's fantastic. We're enjoying your questions. Don't hesitate, keep asking. This is what this program is all about. Like I say, sometimes people, there's so many passive listeners, so many people that are watching and we cannot see them, or so many people who are watching, but they're not brave enough like you to ask this question. So it's very important and it's very helpful that you're able to present these questions, not necessarily for your benefit, but for the benefit of those silent watchers who don't really feel comfortable or confident enough, or they don't know how to articulate their questions, or they're not sure of themselves. So, they don't want to second guess themselves.
I just tell Abdul Blase, I make we can come on in one of the first people who they look for, because sometimes they can feel say, okay, we lost one active person with the challenge ask questions or throw the curveball for make we say being think on with it. So before we come, we can remember somebody like Kerem and so many other people where they ask questions, because we're looking forward to their questions on any of the topics we discuss now.
Absolutely, Abdul. And you know that, and me and you have had several conversations, and I know how passionate you are about cancer, especially prostate cancer. So why not? Please, 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 don't. Diaspora Voice is saying, Isita and Sarah Jane, please, can you touch on the effect of aftercare in Sierra Leone? Okay, we'll talk about that. But let me just go back to Juma. Did you ask
I wanted you to talk about, this issue of, mostly within the Sierra Leonean community, and that's the person, don't get cancer. Well, I understand, but I limit until we really, so it will be focused that as he gets, then say, oh, he get 2 weeks no more, then just notice I study. Hey, hello, how you did do? XYZ person, he don't die. What happened? Then say he get cancer. Who's them? He just go hospital yesterday, or day before yesterday, or last week. Then go tell and say he don't get cancer. The next thing they say, no, they cannot. Also, get calling family. So I'm just creating a scenario here now.
Yeah,
so now that's how I expand on for let people understand. I think say no to something you just they get overnight. Or something like that.
I think there's lots of multifactorial issues that contributes to that. Yes, sometimes there are people genuinely where they will not have any signs and symptoms of that cancer, or they might have subtle signs and symptoms that they might not necessarily think it is that, or that warranted them to go to hospital, you understand, or for go seek further advice. And then the time when they present, it is literally they're in advanced stage. Lung cancer, there's because with lung cancer as well, you've got the non-small cell lung cancer, you've got the small cell lung cancer. Depending on the type, sometimes lung cancer, now actually where it go na the brain, when the person begin get seizure, now the time that they go check why they get the seizure, then they find out say, my cancer, then they realize say, no, this cancer, not so yeah, it begin. Then they dig, then they find out saying a lung cancer. And then if we go be say that person there, in order there are no sign and symptoms of it. You understand? No breathlessness, no coughing, they go about in business and so on and so forth. You understand? So it can happen. And then you've got the silent killers, like cancer of the bladder. It's one of the cancers we call the silent killers because you will get her, you don't know say you get her. Until Sunday we don't take in stuff, you don't go na the liver because they're all then in the same area, them parts them, the way that they work, the systems. Now the time, now the liver, now I go raise alarm. You understand? Or some people they go just then know that they lose weight, But if it coincides, say that they diet or something that they go through difficult times, then go put out and say, now this weight why they lose, now because of this, now because of that. So sometimes there are cases, not common, but there are cases where I have seen and cared for people where they literally go in a hospital, they're not they feel well, bam, then do test, and it's like, oh, I have seen people. I have looked after a gentleman here in the UK where he was fit as a fiddle. They run every day they exercise. A vegetarian. They not they eat any bad food. They stick to the books. One day just go run. They do regular checkups. He could afford it, so he had private care. So they do regular scans. They done routine checks on him a week before. A week before they don't do routine checks, including X-rays and so on. That guy ran one morning, a week after, he collapsed. When he collapsed, then go do tests. He's got aggressive lung disease. He died 3 months later. Now, the consultants were looking at the X-ray and the CT scan when they diagnosed it, comparing it to the ones he had a week before. There was nothing. There was nothing there to show that this disease, there was no evidence of disease, except for the biopsy when they don't get, because at that time, you wouldn't do a biopsy on someone who's just doing routine checks. So it can happen. But when you come to our community, what is more common is that it's not that sometimes people don't get diagnosed. They do get diagnosed, but they decide for keep them, they hide them. You understand? When they hide them because they feel say, oh, I'm a business person, enough or no, let them deal with her, or because they're so scared, they don't know what to do. And then when they go through the treatment, safu. Now, only when it becomes serious, now you and I go, no, but I'm not attending, go say, oh, I just go to hospital, na so happen. So you get that scenario there. Then you get another scenario where people, they don't notice what's going on. They don't know their body. They don't recognize changes. And then all of a sudden, by the time they recognize a massive change when they go to hospital, it's too late, So sometimes it's denial, lack of acceptance, and sometimes it's just ignorance, not knowing what to look for. And when you don't notice what's changing in your body and to go and seek help and just not taking care of your body, those are some of the things that affect us where they make some people then and they die in minutes that they go find out, say, or now they die in minutes, the public or your public gonna say, and then gets that in it. Because they do, people do, and they just want to they feel that's the best way they can deal with it, is keep it to themselves and their immediate family. So,
all right, somebody gets another question, and I know say we're running out of time, but let me see who that person is. Kamara Mustafa is asking, can you please tell viewers what causes cancer? Maybe you hear the answer.
Kamara Mustafa, I think we started the program with this, but for your benefit, thank you for joining. I would say there's different elements and factors to what causes cancer. Cancer in itself, it can be genetically led in reference to your DNA because it's your cell that changes. Sometimes it just happens as a natural mutation, as in it multiplies and goes wrong. and then it becomes cancerous. Sometimes it's external factors such as our diet, our weight, our lifestyle, such as cigarette smoking or tobacco or alcohol, or what we eat, how we eat it, and a balanced lifestyle, and other environmental factors like I mentioned earlier, radiation, pollution. So radiation, you can get radiation also from the ultraviolet light. So sunlight radiation, so different types of radiation. So it's all those different types of elements and factors that can cause or lead to cancer. Of course, different chemicals, of course, stress as well. Psychological stress, all those can contribute to someone getting cancer. So I hope that answers your question.
All right. I'll be glad to ask you other question as well.
From my findings, no. I've not heard of anyone I've not come into contact with anyone who suffers from testicular cancer, or whether it's common in Sierra Leone or not. I can't say. Like I said, data is a big problem. Testicular cancer, I've not heard of it. It's not something I've read of at all, my brother.
So which one are boozing?
See, but why you ask the question, why I can ask so?
Boozing a hernia.
Okay. But they can say you get belly boozing, but it's not the hernia part of it where you testicle the swell. What's the difference between belly boozing and the hernia itself?
So belly boozing and a hernia.
Okay. Yeah. Boozing, okay, maybe there are two forms of boozing. The one where we know
you get boozing, you balls big.
Swell, yeah. It is swell.
Yeah, that's enlarged scrotum. That's your scrotum.
So don't say that boozing.
No, not then they call it a salon boozing, but they also get belly how they call it belly boozing. Yes.
So the belly boozing are the hernia.
Yes.
Okay. So the swollen testicles in a voting.
Enlarged scrotum.
Okay, so you're not getting nothing for do with cancer or not cancer related?
So the testicles, now the seed where they inside the bag waste, you understand, now is scrotum.
Yeah.
So now they swell. So now I make people that they say boozing because they don't swell. So that's your scrotum.
Is it cancer related?
Eh?
Is it cancer related?
Not necessarily so.
Okay.
Not necessarily so. It might be an infection. It might be other issues. Not necessarily so.
So why was it common in Sierra Leone in the late 80s to early 80s? I mean to early 90s? Because it doesn't seem to be common anymore in Sierra Leone.
You know, if people in the IDAM, they don't get you.
Well, if in the IDAM, we for the sea. Because most people who live in the salon, they will always refrain from coming outside.
I don't know.
But it seems like it has gone.
It's not something I've looked into, to be honest with you. It's just enlarged scrotum. Here, it's very difficult for they see people that enlarge. The only time when you see people with enlarged scrotum now with people that don't get surgery. If they get a massive surgery where they've had lots of fluid, they've had blood transfusion, and then they don't lay down now and place for a while, where the fluid defense side for go, one of the places the way they go now, the balls. So them balls that be really big, like whether they call it a salon boozing. So, but then after a few days, as soon as they begin to get up and move around, it kind of, gravity helps, and then it takes its usual shape.
I said that the people in a salon will get bossing and they walk about cool because we are sabi they don't walk.
I know, so now make us say me don't know why and how or waiting they go on day. I don't know.
All right, but just for clarify, the hernia and the one way they make you belly bottom, belly side swell, or you feel pain them inside that. Then this other one, a boozing.
Yes.
Yes.
So like you get belly boozing and then you can get out of boozing. Yeah. Femi wants to say something.
Yeah, go ahead, Femi.
So now don't make a lost it track. But Esther, can women have hernias?
Yeah, women can have hernias. Yeah. Okay. Abdominal hernia. You've got abdominal hernia. You've got hiatus hernia. I suffer from hiatus hernia, which is it basically means the valve for lock between my food pipe and my stomach, and not a lock enough. So there's an opening, which is a hernia. A hernia is basically an opening where there's not supposed to be an opening. So it open. So because of that, I get a lot of gastric reflux. I get indigestion because the acid within my stomach, where they for digest the food, because this valve not the locker is supposed for lock. If I not eat at certain time, or if I not protect the lining of my stomach, it actually they come up, and I get quite a lot of discomfort from that.
And is that is it treatable? Is it treatable?
It is manageable and treatable if it's more serious. If it's more serious, they can do surgery and close the valve. If it's less serious, then you go on things they call proton pump inhibitors or antacids like Gaviscon, you guys call it pepto-bismol, and omeprazole and lansoprazole, those kind of things. Ranitidine. Yeah.
So, Isita,
you what is it? I am.
I want let Femi done. I just want for share an experience with Sierra Leone, and possibly that's another topic I possibly get for encourage you for talk about at some point. But let Femi done.
Okay.
As we talk, T-Boy mentioned, say we get obviously buzzing. We know they see as much of him anymore. I've been just want to ask another thing we know they see a lot of leprosy. Yep. Is that a form of some cancer, some highly I don't know if I'm not going to say infectious, but highly aggressive cancer, skin cancer?
Leprosy is not a skin cancer. Leprosy is caused by a bacteria. So it is not, skin. It's got nothing to do with skin cancer. It's a bacteria.
Is it like a fungi bacteria that eats the skin?
No, a fungi is different from a bacteria. A fungi is a whole different kettle of fish to a bacteria. So you've got virus, you've got bacteria, you've got fungi. Yeah? So they're all three different people or things or beings or organisms, leprosy is just an infectious bacteria, and it affects the skin. And it can affect the nerves underneath the skin as well, the peripheral nerves.
Because the reason I make that question is also very important, as Femi being kind of leprosy, we're bound for being come next. Now the fact say these were all visual illnesses that we will see randomly 10, I would say 20, 30 years ago in Sierra Leone. But for some reason, it has slowly died out. We don't see them anymore, or it just doesn't exist anymore. Because I know for say there was a leprosy control center in Salone at some point when they exist again, and it been there almost everywhere anyway. Because I know what they say in any kind of specific township, but I think the town about Kenema, Freetown, I think it been in some parts of Bo as well. It been in most of the other provincial local towns them. So it was something that was visibly seen by people, and people they look they reject them people and they of that kind of illnesses and they within a salon, and most of them have been the beggars in the streets at some point. But it's really it's disappeared for some reason. And the same thing go to buzzing. Maybe at certain point in time within our environment, few people and we get buzzing we definitely they physically see. They don't be the work are doing the day now, only at night, because there was a big bag underneath their legs where some say it is physically see with your eye. Some the neighbor can be they take the piece out of extremely. Like when they go to sleep, they go basically pierce them, which was not good. But again, as kids, we do so many bad things to people and we sometimes because we take the piece out of. So Now, some of these things just don't catch my attention. We make a feel say, hold on a sec, these things were openly seen, but not in our own eyes anymore.
Because medicine evolves, isn't it? And it's just like the plague, right? You had the plague, you've read about the plague, the SARS virus, where that they don't come to pass. Now we don't get the COVID and so on. So these infectious diseases, they come, and with some knowledge, again, data. With knowledge and data, they are able to go into the lab and provide treatment and preventative measures, you know. With leprosy, they did not have a vaccine like they do for yellow fever and all of that. But one of the things that there's a lot of research that says, and maybe which is why we start seeing less of it now in Sierra Leone, is the BCG vaccine, whether they give for TB. They find out, say, actually they have some effects for leprosy. And we know, say, you know, there was a big campaign in Sierra Leone when in the 90s or late 80s, the Under 5 campaign, where they give them immunization. I remember how they call her maculates. You know, there was a massive campaign because my auntie was one of those Under 5 sisters. Yes, Juma.
Yeah, I just want for support with you, they talk, because the leprosy control program in this Sierra Leone, and it was a huge investment.
Yeah.
We come to healthcare, now salon at the time, and then do a lot of research, and obviously the campaign, the education, and because we used to have, you know, we talk about public health education, now salon, it used to be, you know, robust, really, really good. So money be really, they pour a lot of money on research and education and possibly, you know, finding out what's causing it. And like you say, me begin notice the less and less of that where they roll out the, you know, the polio vaccine, where it became a national thing, you know, polio vaccine and other vaccines they give. You know, then they help a lot. So possibly dynamic. And one thing I want to say, T-Boy, one thing we common in with society, because salon's so small, sometimes the thing are not as big as we think, but because, you know, somebody sabi somebody will sabi somebody, and we're not communal people where they live together. We sabi anybody will die, we sabi anything will happen to anybody. It's easy to notice these things if somebody get abnormalities and all that thing, and what's in bad now where we stigmatize people them about them. That's been the dangerous thing. Even with the HIV and AIDS, you know, we get a huge program. People the way they live with an salon.
Oh yeah.
And people the way they go for treatment, they treat people and the way they go every day or every week now hospital. Some people go to the hospital every day for go take their medication because they're not supposed for let them take another. But because of confidentiality issue again, you never see them come through the front door. Decide where they go through the back door. They really protect them because society don't make people left. So not to like say HIV AIDS not there, but because not to something where you see like a leprosy, you go feel say not there. That make people can take them for granted. And even with the cancer issue as well, who they talk about, you know, people don't take these things seriously because you know they see them.
Yeah.
You know they see them. So, but a lot is happening in Sierra Leone when it comes to them program. The health sector in a salon is highly funded. That's why I know they make excuse. It is highly funded, and you get people away in a specialized area where they under. Then they get programs and for push things go before. What they do with it, sometimes it's a challenge, but you know, they really did try. So if leprosy don't disappear, polio safe. You know, they have polio business there again because we don't beat polio. That was a massive campaign.
Yeah, because like you rightly said, there's a lot of campaign global. You talk about Lassa fever as well.
Exactly.
You talk about yellow fever, dengue fever, all those kind of things, measles, you know. So it's really about how well they tackle it. And you've said it all, Juma. The thing about Sierra Leone, as long as you're different from others, you're cast out in the streets and everything. I mean, we still the same. That's just one thing about us Sierra Leoneans. Everything we turn out into a joke. Everything we turn out into a joke. We make a joke of it. And I don't know if that's our coping mechanism or not. But something they say, we're not for me joke, we're not for me a laughing matter. We they turn into joke. You understand? Look like these Chinese fets. You know, we don't turn into joke. And eventually, we don't dilute them so much that it actually don't lose the seriousness of it. The seriousness of actually what happened that day, the advantage. We don't turn and joke. You know, look, see where they die with laugh. We don't turn and joke. Everything with a tongue joke. You know, everything with a tongue joke. So, and we quick for stigmatize and just people that are different from we, it's unacceptable. We therefore move them away.
Well, I said,
yeah.
I will possibly make some kind of controversial statement on that. Now, in fact, see, sometimes if we not joke about some of these things, then it never go viral for create the attention way for create. Because if it just happen on a small scale and then we ush them and then we sweep under the carpet, it couldn't have created any form of.
But I will challenge you. I will challenge you with that state. Yes, it don't go viral. It don't get attention. But is it the right attention?
Well,
is it the right attention it's having?
Well, you know? Some of us have created the right attention to it. Even though so, yes, it might not have created the right attention, but in this particular scene, I think it highlights the stance of civil unions in terms of this issue, whether they exist for years, and also it creates the awareness for sure, say, people are in our country and then they do certain things they're way wrong, but at the same time, this particular incident don't make everybody in here don't open to some of the reality of what's in the happen. So yes, it might have some amount of negativity when it becomes something of a joke, but it also becomes something serious. If I want to make a short example, now the fact say, when Trump started his rhetoric about things that we really do, there was nothing funny about it. But when people start to take it to another level, comedians then start to copy some of the Trump incident the way they happen, then people become very familiar now to the incident where they bring come all them joke here, so then they begin read and now properly. All of a sudden, this is something very serious that these guys are messing around with. Are they sending us a message to say this is exactly what this guy is all about? Otherwise, we wouldn't have known the extent at which Trump they think. But the comedians made it very clear that this man won't that they take for granted. So this is exactly what he is. And he is worse than what you guys are thinking of him. So yes, some amount of comedy, they change the aspects of the seriousness about the issue. Sometimes it derails the seriousness about the issue. But we get for play on the thin line with that and take the advantage of some positive.
Okay, well, hold it there. They want to answer you. Femi and Juma, who do I want to go first?
Big, make her go. Make her go first.
Yes.
So funny enough, I decided with T-Boy. I believe this one's a cancer. I get a cancer question while I'm doing camp. But I answered with T-Boy on this because I believe there's many ways to tell a story. I believe different audiences relate to different things them in different ways. If you target a certain demographic of people, if it's all serious, yes, you get their full-blown attention. Some other people them go switch away. But if you bring an element of, I'm not gonna call it entertainment, but bring something else, as T-Boy mentioned, comedians, musicians do the same. So we get political musicians them where they sing serious but politics, other one where they take the piss out of politicians, but the message gets passed on. You get the mock news. I can always forget the guy's name. Yes, his thing is viral. It goes viral because of the information where they give. A lot they're relevant, but it talk in a joyful way, but it pass on the information. So I go inside with my brother T-Boy. But where the program just begin, I really miss it, but I make my own small Chinese joke where Juma say he come in face all swell. I feel to say he go try for go revenge, and then the Chinese man then show and see. now we invent Kung Fu.
I like that. Why not against me? Let me rebut a little bit. Possibly, when I get a point that humor, entertainment, they expose certain things, let people be aware about them, and, become a national discourse, and some people pay attention. However, I agree with Isata that we trivialize a lot of things that meant to be addressed seriously. Because we don't trivialize them, we don't joke with them, we normalize them. And once we normalize them, the action way for, happen, for make that thing not continue, or we try for prevent them or work on them, they happen again. Because the people in position of trust, at the end of the day, they don't joke about her now. They talk about with society specifically. Yeah. They don't joke about her now, this, that, a common thing. Then they downplay the issue. You cannot downplay issues like that. And they could say about naming people, labeling them because they get that skin condition. We call them name, we begin joke with them. Like the people that we get boasting, for example, we don't know what they cause them. Enlarged scrotum, blah, 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 blah. Would they go say, logo light fall feather, they're boasting, they begin sing, or they begin make noise, then they get pain, then they cry, yeah? The leprosy person, we don't make so many jokes about people with leprosy and all that thing, but let's say they've not been paying much attention like we them pay. You know how many people are not for don't case? Coming to this Chinese issue, I joked about it as well, okay? Because even yesterday, I played one post, we see the interview with the Chinese, but we see that Chucky Chuck and all that thing. All right. I played with it, but the seriousness of this thing, we not treat it, we not address, and government not issue a statement yet. They might treat it as an isolated incident because that's what the Chinese companies have said, but it is not. The thing where therefore been taken out of that whole thing, not to the facts, for me, not to that facts will happen. This guy was conducting a health and safety class, okay? A health and safety class for a construction company. But people did not take it seriously. You know how many people the way they die, as a result of health and safety issues where they neglect and the company not even get health and safety policies first. For let it become, a mainstream in construction, in everything where they do. People don't treat it seriously. And that's the class this guy was conducting. But the other person thinks, you're wasting my time. And he can't slap what they do. And that happens a lot. You go to a bank now, you go tell them, say, let's run a fire drill here, for example. If they begin asking, but you said, you have me customer and then also. So they look at the money and all that today. So that was one thing where we for take seriously, where government for take and say health and safety supposed to be a major issue, and we get for protect health and safety officers them, where then them reach for do what they're supposed for do, you have to give them that attention. Where I work in my places, when there is a drill, everything stops. They tell you everything stops. And health and safety, people, they die. Transportation, you understand? When they get an accident, we don't know why we are having those accidents. You think saying the lorry no more. No, not to the lorry no more. The roads there where they build, are they considering the safety side of the roads, or not for just put stand at the road?
Yeah.
The people that for them motor car crush them, now they die because we ask Chinese company, people that don't get accident, they for them and die, think and crush them. No one talks about it because they're not fit. Only way they fight, but then the health and safety hazards then still they continue, and nobody not talk about that. So for me, go ahead, T-Boy.
I kind of agree with what you say, but the point here is we don't do real duty now for highlight this thing to the max for like we able for make sure say people are aware of the issues that really happen at this workplace. The benefit
people
of
are aware about the fight and say,
yes,
I can take advantage.
I agree, but
there are Sierra Leoneans doing the same thing.
Yes.
If somebody go
what I want to say is,
they kick them commodity self. Nobody.
Yeah, the thing I want to say is,
yeah.
I agree with the points where you make. Say yes, people are aware of the fight, but like I said earlier on, some of we got for creates the real scenario of the incident and bring and come to the people for me to understand, say, these are the serious issues where make this fight start. You don't mention the health and safety. That's not the points where we describe for raise with all the kind of stuff we don't have with them. But if we don't make that particular fight scene, they become something of an online thing, we're not before getting any discussion there. This awareness of the health and safety theory don't mention so, not before exist. The awareness of the advantages taken over civilians at workplace, not before exist. The fact say this nothing we don't be ongoing for years and years and years, not before exist. Because what in do? One, nobody not actually retaliates to them people also at any point in time. This was the first one we don't see, where they capture on video. It might have happened, but it's never been captured on video. We don't see physically. Okay. We don't physically see where them people also they work now on construction sites. How then they talk to salon people anyway? We have witnessed it. But guess what? We're not going to come to the public domain. So I understand the points where they make, but also the trivia points of where we don't come out of don't create so many different awareness of that particular thing. If it not be don't become viral. Yes, it is not funny, but a lot don't come out of we benefits people right now. We make the stance of the Chinese company change twice. Because the first statement where they make was not true. If there was no video evidence, we go viral for proof they will have stick to that. So that's not what they say. Some of the things where we they pass on as information, sometimes if you ever go pass an information to people in a way, for say, then go only understand you if you use comedy, you use them. Then go only understand you if you use certain type of languages where they talk, but intellectual languages, you use them. But in your modus of actually describing this particular thing, you get for use certain languages that will make the people understand them. And when they understand, then they know for say, oh, now this person mean. Like the health show right now, the fact say I had to don't break so many things down to the layman's idea. I will guarantee you, if I had to use all the terminologies them in cancer, some of we don't able to understand it. Because at some point I wanted to ask Aisata, are you a scientist? Because you use so many scientific terminologies the way you need to get a dictionary for break them down for let people understand the cause to those terminologies. But that is simplicity of what it do and the kind of way how it communicates.
But with all due respect, there is a difference between using a different medium of communication than trivializing issues.
Well, and I agree with that. I can't go to Femi, let Femi say something. Then we'll take a U-turn back to come to the cancer conversation.
Right.
So
yeah.
So my thing is, I'm going to come back to the cancer because somebody don't text me something.
Thank you.
I don't know what to say because it's very controversial. So I think I'm not going to go make enemies, but anyway, I'll say it as it is. It say we get beaucoup problem them now with community. Both in Europe and in Sierra Leone, as I say, but I should say America say get a problem there. We black people them we use a cream for lighting we complexion, and it asks whose kind of effects then it gets by we body. Does it leave us prone for get skin cancer and other things like that? So they ask what are the effects of bleaching our body, which effects it gets in regards to cancer.
Well, first of all, let me just make a disclaimer. Say I'm not a dermatologist. I think a dermatologist would be best placed to answer such a question. But just speaking out from my own Lillian in healthcare knowledge, first of all, and pathophysiology and the biology of the body and anatomy and so on and so forth. First of all, like I said earlier on, we have 3 layers to our skin. You know, the epidermis, when I the top layer, when I the bleaching bleaching they affect, it basically kills the cells, and then it whitens it. It takes you to the other layer. But the problem is when it comes in terms of cancer related, if I want to skip this, is because there are chemicals, and those chemicals can actually change the mutation of the cells in the skin. And so, yes, it could lead to cancer. But when it comes to bleaching your skin has so many different issues that it can bring to your skin and your health. It's unbelievable. For example, you bleach your skin long term, you keep killing your epidermis, it keeps trying to regenerate itself because that's what cells do, you know, regenerate. But then woe betide you, you suffer from diabetes. Woe betide you, you need to be on steroids. Woe betide you, you need to go on for surgery. And then they have to put a knife to your skin in that same affected area. It affects healing and so many other things. So I would say to that person who asked that question, it is not a good thing to do. It poses a lot of risk and implications immediately and long term. And so it is a contributing factor to skin cancer and so many other issues. So that's where I'll leave it. Yeah. So, I mean, oh, okay. Mr. Diaspora Voice is saying, this is just a compliment. Thank you very much. Thank you. I think it's, we need to round up. Yes, Juma?
Yeah, I just want to respond to Abu Black quick because he mentioned on this topic, I don't say not relate to this thing. He said, Juma, get to the point, bro. That was purely disrespect to us Africans. We know what it means whenever someone speaks whilst talking to you. I agree with you. I know they say it's something that can be condoned and we criticized it. We, condemn it. It's not supposed to happen. Whether a foreigner or, a Sierra Leonean doing that to another person, you're not supposed to happen in the first place. That is completely disrespectful and has to be dealt with. But when they say it should not be treated as an isolated incident, the investigation for make sure, say, it mitigates other things the way they happen, where we're not fortunate for see, now video camera like that. So that's my point. And also the issue, since we show this program related to health, to health, I want governments to treat health and safety issues seriously. Safety issues now a major problem. We see a lot of accidents the way they happen. We by the time you rush the person go to hospital, it die in family don't lost and all that thing. But if we don't put the safety measures them in place earlier, then sometimes that will be a preventable death. So that's my point really for say, we know for trivialize issues that we will take away certain things. Isita, my question where I want for ask you, or possibly I want for ask that please, if at some point you were able for do a program where they talk about the causes of the different spice they will take, because we're not high spice eating country, the pepper, the this, the that. The reason make I said, remember you talk about the acid reflux and all that. When I was in Sierra Leone, prominent doctor, the best or the only cardiologist at the time in the country, Naina be like a family doctor as well. So maybe they get belly act frequently, I go when I go there, the kind treatment they then give me, say I get asthma, I get ulcer, all kind of things. So that means I can get for the go hospital every other day or every week for go spend money. But when I come out salon, I not be the experience anything and they much because I not be the eat, much spice like pepper, for example. Now later years I know for say most of the things their way conditions why they get triggered by if I eat something we get too much pepper. So pepper intake therefore be controlled, at a minimal. Sometimes a whole pot of soup now 1 green pepper for the inside it. So I just want to encourage you, please, because we don't know whether a lot of things that the heartburn, the this, the that, and people get treated for wrong things in our country. If at some point you get a specialist who can talk about them, then things then they. So I just want to highlight that. I don't know if Femi gets a follow-up to that.
Yes, Femi.
Okay, so until some of you know say me papa na chemist. So my dad was similar to you, Juma. So Kinegombo say my mama they cook too much pepper. All 10 pepper the hamburger, blah blah blah. Then he sit down one day, he tell me say sit down one day, he realize say, to hell with this. I suppose for no waiting at the problem. So he diagnosed him himself and he found the cure for him. I don't know if you go work for you, but I will tell you anyway.
Please.
So for him for deal with the pepper because he enjoy the pepper and the eat. He just not they enjoy the after effects of the pepper. So basically, as I say, it might not work for you until I don't want you. But he's red wine.
Huh?
Red wine.
Okay.
You see, at least something not ever work for you. But yeah, so
you get last from me. You get a non-alcoholic red wine.
Well, I don't know. I go get for a scam,
but what did they do? Did they drink the red wine before or
no after? So he say, I will get for quiz. I may ask on the whole science behind it. But he say the whatever dinner they get wine balances out the pepper in the pepper they produce. So as a scientist able to figure down the out, and from that day he see he enjoy the pepper with mama they cook and not complain
so
after
that.
I they eating pepper like Chris now. I still me
well, now for us, get the non-alcoholic one, then I can try. I said, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm similar to you, Juma. I don't eat pepper now, and it's so bad now that if I even my taste buds don't want pepper anymore. My palate don't change, and because as you know, we palate they adapt anyway to the type of food we eat. So because of many years of not eating pepper. Now my palate. So if I eat small pepper, not problem for me. And it's not just pepper though. The other thing that I have noticed that can exacerbate the worst in me, reflux and chest, is tomatoes. I don't know if you eat tomatoes at all.
I do, yeah.
Well, try and stop those and see what happens. I used to eat a lot of tomatoes because, again, it's an antioxidant. It's supposed to be a natural cleansing product for your body. Right. But when I do my research on this gas, how to manage my reflux and acidity in a conservative way, rather than through surgery or anything, food came back. Food was one of the things that came back, and tomato was one of them for me, So I think it comes back to this thing where we say, your body, you know what works for you and what your body reacts to and everything. So going back to cancer, I don't know if I get anything for say before I round up.
For me, I don't say it's a constant conversation for all and continue to remind ourselves because like they say the education they happen overnight. For every day we get new viewers, new listeners. We will take get a lot of take home, and we say when they ask ourselves a lot of questions, challenging ourselves for things that will be know or will they do differently. But now with the education, it helps to expand your knowledge. So I think we have to continue with this conversation, and we media ask, say, let people learn, share them as much as possible, So we will continue for learn and hopefully kick cancer common with society before it become really, really dangerous.
Well,
yes, Femi.
Go on, Femi.
Thank you, Tibo. Thank you, Esther. Okay, so a lot of they support a lot of the cancer activities in the UK. You know, they write to us. You know, each event they post something. So you know, there's a lot of activities. One big question I get: why are the drugs them within the use for fit some of them diseases? So why are they so expensive? We a lot of the time, well, make a talk for myself. So I contribute into a lot of cancer research. In November, I do something called November Woody. Then they encourage you for go with mustache and this and that. But you know, when we've been small, we not be know people that we get cancer. Now we don't big. I can tell you, I know so many people living with cancer. I know so many people who don't die of cancer. So you know, I've in the last few years, I've been helping to donate towards Andy. But then where people in get on now, where you get certain drugs that we didn't see are the whole, you know, great drugs. Them this Pfizer vaccine, what they talk about, they do some high-end cancer drugs. But they cost an arm and a leg. You know, I don't understand how if we, the population of the world, they contribute so much into medical research, we then finally find some of the cures them, why can't these things be subsidized so that the average man will stand a chance? Because pass with gently, if you're gently you can afford everything, but if you're an average man or below average, you can't afford some of these drugs. I don't understand why.
Hey boy.
Well, I think I want to say thank you to the viewers and all those who don't participate and ask questions and contribute towards the show. And let's say the health should it's here for keep we healthy, so you don't have to keep we online for too long. So you just have and let me get enough sleep for me till Friday. But yeah, it's been very educative, and sometimes we have to push some of the boundaries and ask the questions. Then we know say we don't ask for years and years and years, because some of those questions will lead up to so many other kind of leading up questions. Then we something I want a question nobody bring that. But look, not forget say your health is your wealth. And look, not forget to make your own contribution towards your health and make your own contribution towards the health of other people. For as long as we're able to maintain your own health, we'll be able to look after others. So let's keep ourselves healthy, run if you can, eat safe and eat well, and not just look at the weather. I think to say the place hot, you for begin the ding, 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 ding. Even too much for not good for you, but you know, so they say. I don't know if not true, but just they say I'm myself. But let's try to keep everything safe. It's summer, and don't get carried away with the sun. Obviously, because you're an African man, the sunburn, I also not going to get no effects on you. It might be different. So let's try to be as safe as possible as we are. And then look, don't forget, say COVID still there. And look, be very mindful. For some of we they not recommend for take with test, we still not take our mates. Please go and take yours if you have to. If you don't have to, then it's okay. But continue for the take your test on a regular basis. And if you don't due for vaccine, now you don't count down to the age level 35 and above. So yes, we're supposed to go taking about the wait for small. We then bring count down to 25 and above. There yeah, we will take. The risk level is still high. So we then count down small. From 20 to 25. Shall we come? Over to you, Tata. Thank you very much, everyone. And have a lovely day.
Something.
We've got a question.
Thank you so much. Sorry, I said I left you waiting. I just want for touch on waiting Femi talk about earlier. This is a two-way thing, because you feel like say you put water inside boss drum and you know they see results, so it can be painful. On the other hand, you know, medicine first not business, and secondly, medicine is expensive. For a treatment or drugs come to life and then at the shelf, or you know, or somebody begin consume them or them, put them on person, it is very expensive. Some research and what you call them takes 10 years or more before that medication come to life. And that involves a lot of things, because they know I'm bringing something which will be more harmful than it treats in the first place. So it costs billions of dollars for bring certain things to life. So then it can be expensive, easy for reach. We make me feel say, waiting we they do so, get better results if we all work together. Meaning we do a lot of the education, the awareness, and try for prevent than we wait for take the medication. That would be my advice, and possibly for touch on. Over to you, Esther.
Absolutely. So now the word that fumble them. Today we don't talk about cancer, and like everybody don't say, it's an ongoing conversation. And based on that, I'm actually thinking of rebranding the health show for focus primarily on cancer, so cancer care for all, and to kind of make it quite obvious and constantly knocking on doors, banging on windows, and making sure we talk about it and making sure it becomes a comfortable conversation to have in our individual households. And so that we can able detect them sooner or prevent them as much and as best as possible, because it is preventable, and early detection can mean it is curable. So it's very, very important. So like I always say, I'm not an expert, but I'm a specialist. Done many years of learning when it comes to cancer care. So I think I feel very comfortable and at ease to have conversations about cancer. Today we talk about just the overview of cancer itself, how it comes about and why and what to look for and the different types and what difference it makes from gender perspective and a race perspective. So we will continue the story. Next week would be another relaunch of the World 2 fundraising project, again, which has a lot to do with cancer. And we will bring on stakeholders, including the project manager, who happens to be my husband, so that we can come and talk and do some live fundraising as well. Because I think there's 95% chance that we would be expected to go and refurbish this ward and put it into new, transformation in October, which is a breast cancer awareness month. And people might think, why October? Because it's a breast cancer awareness month, and Ward 2 is a female surgical ward that hosts primarily all the breast cancer patients. That's why. So please tell a friend, join us, and ask a friend to tell a friend. Every little makes a difference, especially us in the diaspora. We wonder why when we want treatment, we can have it. It's not necessarily just to do with Papa governments. It's because of all these other charity organizations, like Femi mentioned, that they write to you, you donate to them, you contribute towards research, you contribute towards treatment, you contribute towards other support. Now, one thing that I think Diaspora Voices DJ Lito wanted us to touch on, DJ Lito, I didn't forget about that, but I think that would best fit into next week's program. Aftercare of patients post cancer diagnosis in Sierra Leone. So that will be plugged in next week's program. I think it will fit in well because it has a lot to do with the ward and so on and so forth. So please, ladies and gentlemen, it's been interesting, it's been amazing as always, and it's always a pleasure to have you as viewers and to participate and to contribute to whatever little rubbish or sense were they give now. But I no apologies for not bringing things that are more attractive to our community, which is negativity. I believe in sticking to what I know and what I know best, and that is health and well-being. So thank you very much. Until next week, look after yourself. Of course, Sierra Gem Media has a series of other programs that will come and probably keep you up for 5 hours or more before next Thursday, which is, I believe, the 17th of June. So thank you very much. Tata, have a good evening. Enjoy the sun. Don't forget your sun cream. Be mindful. Use a sun hat if you're going to be outdoors in the park for long, because I think the weekend is going to be fantastic. But the UV level is going to be high, as much as the pollen count is also quite high, has been quite high this week. That's why us, who suffer from these allergies have suffered really badly, including asthma sufferers as well. So you might need to use your inhalers more frequently. I've had to, this is the only time in the year that I have to use my inhalers a lot more compared to usual times. So have a good evening. Femi wanted to say one thing. Femi?
Hi, Esther. Yes, sorry to butt in on your goodbye. I just want to remind people we, especially with brother and sister the way the Africa, the news on COVID in Africa isn't good.
Yeah.
The numbers are going crazy all across. Ayari of somebody, not to Salon, but another African country, a 34-year-old young man, we lost in life today. He got evacuated, but I guess it was too late. We lost in life. So, it's, I think, see the next wave, I don't know if not second or third wave in Africa, but we need to be mindful of what they do here and there. And if you offer the vaccine, please take it.
Indeed. I think that's very important. Juma?
Yeah, I just want for buttress that, because I didn't Africa, WHO Africa Forum, where they get high-level meetings every week on cancer, on COVID, I apologize. And of course, today's update says, as COVID-19 cases in Africa rises for the third week running and vaccines are increasingly scarce, 47 of Africa's 54 countries, nearly 90%, are set to miss the September target of vaccinating 10% of their people unless Africa receives 225 million more doses. So the reason we can read this, they understand, say the vaccine not available to we yet that much. So whatever you're doing to make sure that we not get it spread, please do it. Isolate if you have to, use all you gadgets them with T-boy they make, and make sure, say, you social distance if necessary. If you not get the reason for make events outside people they can't gather, please don't do it. It's better to be alive now and have many more events than go drink coffee and pap. Now you waking and you're not able to foresee the many more events. Yeah. I just wanted to buttress that. Thank you.
Indeed. Let's continue. Hands, space, and face. Wash your hands. Maintain your distance, and protect your face by wearing your face mask. It's very important. I think, again, this brings us to the fact that we trivialize things a lot. Especially in Sierra Leone. I don't know about other African countries, but we have trivialized this COVID thing. Not only did you see them, they wear masks. When my husband go away, they wear masks. A majority of, very few home base, they wear masks. He was frowned upon because he was wearing a mask. They were making fun of him. You go to the market, you wear masks. They no say straight in a JC. If they sell something 10 pounds, they hit up to 20 pounds. So we as the people, we just have to be mindful and be careful, because this thing does exist and it's taken another turn, and we have to be careful and stay safe, because like Juma rightly said, if you run the race If you try for cheats, it go monitor you. If you take your time, it's the hair and the turtle thing. You know, the hair run fast, but the turtle got there even though he was slower. So just take your time, do things sensibly and carefully, and do the appropriate thing. That tells us how they say, once not get no once, isn't it? We then are a country where they're begging us to take the vaccine, but then there goes Africa, they don't have it. And then you get Zimbabwe, they bluff for taker. So, and they want that to, they can't deport you, go salon self. Love see now, they go big for taker.
Now I need to respond. Juma, by the way, they don't force me for respond. Next week, now we host the health show. Eketa and the team of the cancer award now are going to be our guests. So now we're ready for that, yeah?
Yeah, I'll join you after. I know so you start, then I'll join you.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you very much. Are we off? Bye.
The total population of Sierra Leone in 2019 was stated approximately at 7.8 million. And the most common cancer reported in 2018 was breast cancer, with an incidence rate of 25.1% and a mortality rate of 19.2%. Ward 2 at the Connaught Hospital, Freetown, is a female surgical ward that cares for patients requiring breast surgery, chemotherapy, and palliative care. General surgery also admits to the ward as see fit. The ward is in need of a significant refurbishment and has a major impact on patient assessment and delivery of treatment, dignity, comfort, and infection control measures. The current ward area presents a significant challenge to infection control. There is no fit for purpose or adequate personal hygiene facilities. The showers and sanitary areas are in poor condition and are difficult to clean. The flooring is deteriorated. Overall deco and fabric of the walls need repair and full decoration. Furniture, cupboards, and shelving require replacement. The sluice, known to be the dirty utility room, is in poor condition and needs replacing. Windows need to be replaced as current windows bring in draughts, dust, debris, mosquitoes, and rodents. There is no designated area to provide a day service for patients receiving chemotherapy. Medical supplies is desperately needed. Therefore, we need a total amount of £15,000, which is equivalent to 195 million leones, for this project. This project will focus on women diagnosed with breast cancer and other non-malignant breast abnormalities requiring one or more of the treatment modalities that are currently available. We will also set up a day unit for the administration of chemotherapy and provide training and development to ensure sustainability. Therefore, I am pleading to all individuals, organizations, and local businesses, and every Sierra Leonean and friends of Sierra Leone to make a meaningful contribution that will never go in vain. Ways to contribute will be seen at the end of this clip. I am Aissata Cissé Jallow of the Health Show Partnership Program. Remember, your health is your wealth.
When I was young, a lot of things were different. Unfortunately, most of the differences seen now are heartbreaking and are not good at all.
Before now, men were strong protectors of the weak, fathers, brothers, lovers, sons.
Their mere presence guaranteed the safety of women and children.
But what do we do now?
Men harassing and raping women.
Men sexually abuse little girls.
Men battering and killing their wives.
Any form of sexual assault, be it rape, sexual abuse, or pedophilia, is a killer to human self-esteem.
Women should stop dying in silence. Speak now.
The rapist should be stigmatized, not the victim.
I think death sentence should be the consequence of such terrible acts.
And you mothers, build confidence in your children, put trust in them, listen to them when they make reports, and take necessary actions.
Talking of mothers before now, women were virtuous.
They were mothers, daughters, and sisters.
Nurturing, counseling, supporting their men folks.
But now, women are trafficking female children for money.
Women are forced to be silenced.
All this must stop, and it must stop now.
Real men do not abuse, rape, or molest women and children.
It is barbaric, unacceptable.
Let all real men stand with us. Together, let's say an emphatic no to rape, sexual abuse, pedophilia, and domestic violence.
I was raped multiple times by my aunt's boyfriend when I was 6.
I was repeatedly raped at the age of 8 by a close family member.
I was raped at 19. I didn't speak openly about it because I was ashamed and afraid that people would judge me.
I was raped at age 5 by my caregiver's husband.
On June 17th, 2020, 5-year-old Khadija Sakho, a beautiful little girl from Freetown, Sierra Leone, was repeatedly raped and strangled to death, allegedly by her own cousin. Her death shocked the nation. But in truth, in this small West African country, 9 out of 10 girls experience some form of sexual violence in their lifetime. Think about that for a second. 9 out of 10. That's 90%. My name is Aisha Sase. I'm a journalist and activist. I'm joining forces with Idris Elba and other activists from across Sierra Leone to support the survivors of sexual violence with the Survivors Solidarity Fund. Please consider donating whatever you can afford. All monies raised will go to 4 local organizations currently providing free medical and legal services to survivors. 5-year-old Khadija lost her life to sexual violence. That same threat remains for millions of others. So this is also a call for you to use your voice, your power, to draw attention to an enduring culture of rape. Together, we must end it now. My name is Aisha Sase. I am Khadija Sakho.
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 We are Khadija Sakho.
We are all Khadija Sakho.
Hello, my name is Josephine Kamara. I'm the founder of You Can Do It Foundation. You Can Do It Foundation is a charitable organization based in Sierra Leone, West Africa. You Can Do It Foundation has been in existence for the past 2 years. We have been fighting gender-based violence against women and girls within the community. During the past 2 years, we have been offering psychosocial support, counseling, court fee, medical fee, including school items to the survivors of gender-based violence. However, during the lockdown of COVID-19, report received and confirmed that rape cases among a minor has increased tremendously within our community. Because of this, You Can Do It Foundation has secured the land to build an accommodation for the survivors of rape. However, this may almost become impossible without your generous support. We need your help to build this home for the survivors. Your help could be in cash or in kind. If you wish to join us to make a difference in a child's life, please go to our website, which is www.youcandoitcyf.org, or you can go to our GoFundMe page, which is Home of Hope for the Survivors of Gender-Based. Or you can contact us with the details at the end of this video. We thank you greatly for your generous support, and thank you once more for making a difference in a child's life.
Mina Yvonne Akisoya, and 11th May 2021 make me 3 years where I don't day in office. I say let I come and tell Freetonians them, una boku boku tenki for where una elect me and una give me this mandate for serve una. But I not just want to tell una thank you for when I elect me, I want to tell una thank you for what una don't work with me and work with the councillors, work with the staff of Freetown City Council, work with so many stakeholders, including the central government, the international partners, the local partners. I want to tell una, the Freetonians, and thank you, but I want to tell all the other groups and the boku boku tenki. Together, we embark on a journey for Transform Freetown, and in nobody not been say it go easy. We published the plan in January 2019, and then in January 2020, we published our first year report, and then in January 2021, we don't publish with 2-year report. Inside the reports and day, you go able for read in much more detail, waiting we don't achieve. But family them, I still I just share today some of the things that really make me heart gladdy pan this walk here. One thing we're really gladdy about, now the wastewater treatment plant where we don't build na King Tom. This is not the first time ever in the history of Salone for let we get the thing we come on the toilet. Instead of it just gonna grow na King Tom, it actually they go into a plant where they get for separate the solid from the liquid and get for treat them and waiting get for come out can go towards manure. It can now be safely the liquid can now safely be disposed into the waterways. Another practical thing we are so glad for, now this urban farming project, we bring over 300, in fact we start with 300, now we add another 200 women them. We now at them backyard them and in community level, particularly in the private communities.
And you can create this, where you give, the okra they come up, they will plant them.
The women they do farming projects where go benefit them picking them, forget more nutritious food, but it go also help them forget small thing at the hand as they sell them in the market. And then their nursery school. Family then go no say we been not open the one at Congo Water Market for make vulnerable women them and their young picking it under the age of 5 get free quality preschool care. And now we dip and build the second one. We do refurbishment upstairs in the Croton Road Market, and that facility will be open and available to women and men traders inside Croton Road Market. Tricycles. Well, then tricycle and they not only then they help for keep we city clean, they also they create employment. We don't create so far over 1,200 jobs with young people then where they go and collect dirty na the streets. And now we get 90 more where they come on stream. So I'm so happy because it increased the capacity for collect dirty. At the same time, it increased the number of people them, young people that we get work. Let not talk about the transfer station when I did the dirty then they go. So we don't get 4 additional ones, including the one at Lumley, the one at Approved School, the one at Shell, and the one at Allentown. Bele Uman them. Then they all over the community. That journey for going to PCMH, it can challenge Boko of them. So we work for upgrade 5 of we PHUs them for make them be monk side with side Bele Uman they able for born. Freetown people then, Boku people then know say dog na challenge na this city. And so we don't start a program for sterilize, vaccinate the dogs them so that we go get control over dogs and we the ambog motaman, but we the ambog themselves. We go make we city healthier and it go reduce the risk for let people then get us sick with and call rabies. I don't share small about wait we don't do. And over these 3 years, but I just touch the Tinem Boku. I go say anybody want for no more. Also go now with Facebook page. We get Freetown City Council Facebook page. We also get Yvonne Akisoya, Mayor of Freetown. You go able for follow we. Let we continue for work together with all we stakeholders for let collectively we transform Freetown. Una, thank you and God bless you.
Yes, this na term for all salon people and them party them. Sarah Jem Media will be bringing you a variety of programs ranging from documentaries to discussions, interviews, news, views, sports and entertainment. Our programs will contain matters on development, governance, the economy and issues that are of importance to Sierra Leone. So, no left BNO because we get Beberebe program then like salon discussion, meets the ministers, the president's hour and the Gladi program, look me, I look you. All this they start soon na www.sarahjemmedia.org. Now who's tem these? Somebody